And we are off. Hopefully we're ready to rock and roll, and you're all welcome along to the Sunday service. I'm not sure the stream has actually started where it's supposed to be, but there's 11 people waiting, and all seems well in the world. This is, of course, the Sunday service, and there is always a little buffery bit at the beginning of it that we have to kind of get over to try and get there. So thank you for joining me on the Sunday service. We are away, yes, definitely running now at this stage. A few things to get out of the way just to start it off. Thank you all for listening to the podcast as well. If you're listening to the podcast versus this in retrospect, or you've downloaded it off iTunes or wherever it is you get your podcast from, welcome to it. Hang on, I didn't turn my little light on behind me. There we go. That always looks a bit weird when I don't turn it on. But thank you for listening on the podcast. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you for donating and keeping this channel moving at all times. The expansion rate has been absolutely huge. Looking at numbers in the last couple of days, we've gotten well in excess of 500 new subscribers. The channel is growing. The community is growing, and it's wonderful to see that growth take place week after week. Every time the Sunday service keeps going up trumps with the amount of people who want to watch. So click the like button if you just join me here. Click the subscribe button if you're not normally subscribed. You can click the little bell icon thing beside the subscribe button so you get a little notification. Like I just noticed, somebody noticed this morning, put up said it got a little notification from YouTube that said this was happening, because I set it up in advance, of course. So it's really good to have you here. It's really good. We're getting very close to Christmas. Today, of course, is the 16th of December, so there's only like 10 days left or something before Christmas. So I think there's actually, is there only one Sunday service left before Christmas? There is. I think next Sunday is the last Sunday service before Christmas Day. So we're going to do, I'm trying to arrange something a little bit more special for next week, not just kind of round off the year. And then we'll come back in January. We'll come back with an actual live show. We're all going to do a full live meetup again, which would be great crack. Don't forget to click that like button. It'd be brilliant if you're there. We've already got 37 people watching. This is huge already, and last week was like a record breaking one. So we had a huge amount of people last week, and a massive amount of questions. I actually ran out of time last week. It was too many questions. But you can join us live, of course, on the Sunday service here every week. But we also do a meetup, which we did a couple of weeks ago. So I got to meet, I don't know how many of us were there, 20 people or something were there a couple of weeks ago, and it was fantastic, lovely little day out. So I'm going to arrange another one of those, as I've had multiple requests to put a date on the next one. So I'll put a date in the diary on Facebook. I'll create a new event for the thing again, and we'll let it run and see if anyone wants to come along to that one. That'll be towards the end of January, and the Sunday service will return towards the beginning of January. So there'll be a couple of Sunday services, then a real live meetup, and we'll do that one again. It seems to be getting its own little life now, so that's good. Video's done well. I actually have another little tiny piece of news as well. Whenever I go to an international launch, I tend to try and find the car designer, the one who sketches the cars. That's not always the chief designer. Often the chief designer doesn't sketch at all. Usually there's someone junior to them, or someone who's coming up through the ranks. Like in the Irish sense, there's David Caffrey, who works for Audi and has designed the Audi A3 and the Audi Q5 and a few other cars along the way. So I was at the Seat Tarraco launch. That's the notepad from the Seat Tarraco. And what I did was I got the designer to draw me another picture. As you can see, he's after drawing the front of the Tarraco there, half of it, which is a very cool thing. And he signed the bottom. It always has to be the original picture. There's simple rules that I have. My rules that I do every single time I meet the designer is, first of all, they have to sketch it in the notepad that the company has supplied on the night. And that's why that says the new Seat Tarraco at the top of it. And they also have to sketch with the pen, the actual pen that they give out on the night as well, which is this thing. So they always give you a notepad and a pen so you can write things down as a journalist, because sometimes you want to write things down. I don't. You can see, generally speaking, this notepad is actually blank. Because usually I've made the video by the time the press conference comes around, so I don't really have a lot to write down unless I've got a question or something. So I got the designer to write me draw me a new thing. So that's going up my little wall of fame. I've collected, I don't know how many sketches at this stage, a lot of sketches at this stage from designers at various car shows. It's something I've done for a good few years now. Maybe the last 7 years, something like that, 6 years. Every time I meet one, I get them to sketch something. Some turn me down. I've only ever really had a proper knockback from the guy who designed the Skoda Superb, because he just was afraid of it ending up on eBay, which I found really insulting, to think that I would get someone to draw a sketch freehand at a show and then I'd sell it on eBay. I just found it really insulting, and I took against the guy. I never spoke to him again after that. I got up and walked off the table, but that's just insulting me. Obviously the guy didn't know how to draw, or he hasn't drawn in years and was afraid to make an idiot of himself amongst the other designers on the wall. So anyway, now there's 60 people watching. This, of course, again being another afternoon of record-breaking numbers, so hopefully this is really good. So click the like button, please. It'd be brilliant. Don't forget to subscribe. You can check out the links down under the comments here for ways of supporting this channel, which is very much appreciated, to keep this channel on the go and on the road and totally independent. So I don't really look for any advertising money from anybody. Obviously YouTube, I have to have it monetized, but that's YouTube money. Doesn't amount to much, I promise. Let's hit a few questions. Hopefully you've heard enough now to prepare yourself for some questions. We've gone through that part. Simon Edwards says, afternoon Bob, nice to get a YouTube reminder. See, YouTube reminders. Is the 2019 BMW 320d Touring going to be worth the wait, or do I go with a VW Passat Estate? Now, that's a good question. The only experience I've had with the 320 has been sitting in it at that preview launch the other day in Automotive in Dublin. The video is on my channel of what I thought of it at the time. It's very good. It's very big. It's about the size of a 5 Series. A little bit smaller than a 5 Series. The 320 Touring, the older one of that, was a fantastic buy. And I saw one the other day, probably about 3 generations old, and it looks amazing still. Really has grown on me. The new one, I'm not sure we're all going to love that one as much as we love the older ones. I don't know, the looks are a little bit divisive around the front. That huge grille on the front of it. It looks great from certain angles. But the more I look back at my own pictures in the video of the day, the more I went, I'm not too sure I like the look of it now, not the way it was. But the 320d, it is a very different animal to the Passat Estate. BMW Ireland, or BMW in general, will be trying to sell you the 4-wheel drive version of that. Rear-wheel drive is where it's at with BMW, lads, I'm afraid. That's where I've been for a very long time. I don't think their 4-wheel drive system is as good as the Quattro from Audi. If I was in the market for it, would I consider an Audi A4 Estate instead of a Passat? Maybe. Very different markets, Simon. So just remember that there'll be a big difference in money. In the Passat Estate, you're going to get a lot more kit for your money, for the same money as BMW 320 Touring, and you're actually going to get a bigger car. The Passat is a much bigger car. The Passat's much closer to a 5 Series Estate size-wise. So I would, using my head, I would buy the Passat Estate, because you're going to get a gigantic car. You could get DSG, you get lovely touchscreens and a good Bang & Olufsen stereo for the same money as a 320 diesel, which would be a standard one, rear-wheel drive. For a driver's car, BMW. For sensible car, Passat. Shane Houston, afternoon Bob, how's things? Things are fine, things are great. I might have to turn that light on. Things are absolutely deadly. Let me just see what that does to the screen. Does it make it look really yellowy? Might do, who knows? Who knows? Most people listen to this as well as watch this though. Martin M, hi Bob, how long does it take to get a car from the Skoda factory to a dealer in Ireland? An overnight drive if it's ready. I know, it's the problem is car factories are a little bit weird, so they do things in rotation. And what do I mean by that? So a rotation means that the car company themselves, they say we're going to make a certain amount for Ireland today, so they make 20 cars, 50 cars, 100 cars, whatever it is for Ireland today. And then tomorrow they make cars for the UK, the day after that they make cars for Slovakia, Slovenia, whatever it is, right? So they do, or they might do it as right-hand drive cars and left-hand drive cars on certain days. So they can only do it in that space. They allot a time for the car to be made during that space. So that creates a lead time. And especially if you've ordered a car and it's not going to be ready then until March or April or something next year. The problem is the lead times keep stretching outwards as more people want the car. That's really what happens. In bigger markets, when they're making for a bigger market like the UK, they might do 20,000 cars at a time. Making it from Ireland, they might do 300, 400, whatever it is. So your car is in the lot. So however long it takes, it just depends on what way it's been allotted in the factory. If you're a very early orderer, you probably get it earlier than everybody else because it'll rotate in quicker. So sorry, Martin. If you've ordered a Skoda for next year and it's not quite here yet, that's a shame. I know lead times are a pain in the hole, but unfortunately sometimes it has to happen. bloody hell, I just looked how many questions there are ahead. Yes, this is going to be another busy day. So the title I put up was what to look out for in UK imports, and then of course the impact of Brexit still happening, still going ahead. The UK are determined to either invade us or cut us off in gas or stop supplying water or something. Whatever it is they're going to do next, they're not just going to starve us out, maybe, according to that woman the other day. Not going to supply any more food to us in Ireland. None of these things will work, of course. Stay calm. It's okay. It's just headlines. That can't happen. Sure, the EU would never allow that to happen. But sure, Ireland has one of the most secure food sources in the entire planet. So we're like number 2 or 3 or something. We could easily feed our own population here without any outside help. So it's no big deal. But at the same time, there is an awful lot of UK imports going to the country. The SIMI, Alan Nolan, came out recently and said that's absolutely killing the new car market. That's a fallacy. That's completely wrong, of course. I'm sorry, Alan. I know we don't always see eye to eye. Do we ever see eye to eye is more to the point. Met him at Car the other night. It was very interesting, but interesting talk. But no, I don't think that used cars are actually killing the new car market. I think dealers are under pressure to hit targets so hard and try and make money so much that they're actually killing themselves. That's what's really happening at the moment. Andy McPhee says there can be up to 6 weeks for a car from the factory. Depends on when you order. If you order the right cycle, you will probably get it around that time. But it could be up to 3-4 months. If it's a brand new model just hitting the market, it could be a little bit longer than that. Paul Riddell, maybe. I've been watching you for a while. Good. From afar or through a telescope, I wonder. Now, from up north, really enjoying the reviews, and you have helped me decide on a new Karoq 1.5 petrol DSG. Keep up the good work and see you on the far side. Thanks, Paul. Very good to hear. Did you buy a Skoda Karoq? Good car. Good engine as well. The 1 litre one disturbs me. The 1.5 doesn't bother me at all. I think 1.5 is fine. Shane is here. Zdenko is here. John Kerwin is here. Hi, John. Sean McCabe. Good man. Sean is there as well. Yo, Bob, back on the Sunday service. That's the Saint SD1. Good to have you aboard. Eric Rochford is here. Claudio Botsatu is here from Romania. Good man. I was there a few weeks ago. Really good old country, that. Really want to go back to Romania. I only seem to have scratched the surface of that. Really enjoyed. It's weird how much you go to kind of Eastern European, very Far East. I mean, the next thing over from Romania is Turkey. Like, it's weird to see in that area what it's like. But fascinating, lovely people. Everyone I met in Romania. I met a couple of guys who knew me as well from the Sunday service or from this channel at the park across the road from my hotel. And they were so friendly and so nice and could speak English. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So thank you, Claudio. Pat O'Reilly, delighted it's all going so well for you, Bob. When are you getting the press? Peugeot 508 will be interested to review breaking the norm. The international launch was so far back now, it feels. That was just a French thing. They'd launched a little bit too early for the Irish market. It's not due here. It's still, there's none of them in the country. They still don't have the allotment that they wanted, and the desire factor is high for Peugeot for that saloon car. Funny enough, for a saloon car. I don't have a date in the diary for it yet, and I don't see a date in the diary for the national launch, which is what normally happens first, is that they launch the car company, Peugeot Ireland. Emma will get together and put all their stuff out in a hotel or whatever and bring all the cars so we can all have a spin around it, a drive around in it. So you get the kind of initial reaction, then you book it in after that. So that's usually what happens, and I don't even have a date in the diary for that, so I don't know what they're doing. She's talking about the first quarter of the cars being out, but like the first quarter's up to March. We're nearly in January now, so you'd normally have an idea of what's going on. So I don't have a date for the Peugeot 508, but I will update you on Instagram or Facebook, wherever it is you want, when I get a date for it, and you can come and see for yourself. Eric Rochford. RRE Skoda lead times. My experience is minimum 8 weeks, but can move depending on extras you add. That's true. Extras and options and specialist options and specialist colours and things can actually kind of push it back a little bit further as well. Marcus Hogan. Hi, Bob. Glad to be back on as always. There you go. You see, dependable every Sunday. Consistency is the king. Make sure you click the like button, please. It'd be brilliant. There's 77 of you watching now. 33 likes. I'd like to keep them 2 numbers kind of hanging around the same area or more. It's okay to have more likes than you have dislikes, so that's fine. Shamrock says, Bob, do you think the images that Skoda have leaked of the Vision will ever look what they are releasing, or will be a sporty Scala? Oh, that's hard to say. Skoda are in a difficult period at the moment, I feel. There's a lot of management changes going on. There's a lot of profiteering going on. There's a lot of brand building going on. And a change of direction. Some of the simply clever things kind of fell to one side. The more unusual factor that Skoda had going on. Think of the Superb for that. For instance, how unusual that car is in any segment. It doesn't quite fit into any segments anywhere. Now the Scala is coming, which is just clearly a kind of a Rapid with some sharp edges. They just didn't like the name Rapid. They went for Scala. And then we'll see with the Vision whether that's going to be all electric and just be, nothing else. And have sort of bravery attached to it, or whether it's going to be slimmed down by Volkswagen. I drove the Seat Tarraco the other day, which is a Skoda Kodiaq of a different sort, and Seat have done such a really good job at making it feel like a different car from the Skoda Kodiaq, and that's very unusual. That's down to Seat really being brave and doing their own thing. And it's the same in Ireland here. Seat dealers here tend to be a little bit braver, a little bit more unusual than ordinary dealers, particularly say Skoda dealers, where it seems to be pushed into the Volkswagen way. Seat seem to stand alone and do their own thing. So I don't know whether the Vision is going to look much different from what you've seen already. I don't think it will. I think it's going to stick in around the same thing. Remember, they got to sell it. They never want a polarizing car. I think that stopped the Skoda Superb selling in big numbers because it looked a bit weird. And I like the weirdness, but a lot of people don't. Now it doesn't look weird. It's still really good, but it doesn't look weird. And so people are buying it. So you see more of them on the road. But then they actually start to blend into the background as well on the road, which is kind of weird. Click the like button. Go on, there's loads of you here. You can click the like button anytime you want. It's not going to do anything. Like, it's not going to alert the whole world that you're watching this video. What it does is actually sends a message to YouTube to say there are lots of people clicking this like button. We better send more people over there. That's all that happens. Anyway, let's go on. All BMWs are worth getting after 3 years of depreciation. Grab a bargain, don't buy new. There's good advice. That's actually, now it's not just about BMW. 3-year-old cars tend to reach the bottom of their arc of depreciation. So when a car is launched and it's brand new, it falls like a stone. The moment you're the first owner, you lose maybe 40% of the value of the car in the first couple of years. Then it kind of stabilizes out around year 3. You've still got maybe 50% or 40% left in the car. And then it just kind of skirts on down to a certain kind of age until it reaches over 10, and then it starts to, well, it used to, the way insurance has gone, it's a bit weird now, but it used to actually, after 10 years old, if it was kept in really good condition, would actually level out and never really lose any more money out of itself. It just kind of stays there around the 3 to 1,000 euros, somewhere in that range. Piston Geeks have arrived. Hello, Piston Geeks. Good to have you here. Marcus says, my aunt just bought a new Rangy from the UK. Oh my god. Right, that's going to break down. But anyway, worst thing I've ever been. Black on black wheels with black interior, black badges, black grille, blacked out windows, and even badges on the hubs are black. Yeah, it's a recent thing that Range Rover have been doing. That's definitely going to break down. I've had multiple emails now and messages from all over the internet talking to me about Range Rovers being just broken all the time, being back in the dealership much more than people are actually getting to use them. So Range Rover might have a few questions to answer, but those as Marcus says, it's a drug dealer's car. It does look that way. Yeah, it's been around for a while. Those blacked out things have been around for a while. Even the badges and all are coloured in, like somebody got a marker and did it themselves. I suppose if that's your thing, it's your money. You can do what you want. We'll see how much your money at the other end of it when you're getting out of the car, how much it's going to be worth then. Because remember, the more unusual your car, or the more unusual the colour scheme, or the more weird you make the car, the less the dealer wants it when you want to trade it in on something else, or the narrower the field of buyers are when you want to get rid of it yourself, even if you're selling it used private sale. You know, so just bear that in mind. It's cool to have a lot of, you know, dragon skin colour cars or weird shapes or all blacked out windows or whatever it is. But, you know, can you get rid of it again? Are you ever going to get rid of it? Maybe you won't. Maybe just hold on to it till it's gone, like me. I have a 12-year-old car and I'm happy with that thing. It's good. Paul Glennon. Hi, Bob. Do you think Mazda are going in the right direction with the Sky Active X engine while everybody else is going hybrid or electric? And what's your feeling about it? Okay, so I have a little problem with hybrid. Right now, hybrid is being heralded as the ultimate solution to everything. it's quite obviously not the current solution to everything. It's not. Nothing is the solution to everything. Electric is not the solution to everything either. It's part of a future. We're never good at choosing. So petrol wasn't really. Peanut oil was the first kind of fuel we used to fuel cars. So was cooking oil and fats and things, because they all burnt. But petrol engines were the ones that kind of succeeded. But we didn't stop at petrol. We like if petrol was the answer to everything, we would have just went with petrol. But we didn't. What we did was we got diesel as well, and then we got hydrogen, and then we got refined versions of diesel, jet fuel engines, and all these different fuels that all came from oils. But that's not how we've stopped. We need another source of fuel as well. So hybrid is blending old style fuels together with new style fuels. And it works in very limited circumstances, but so does electric. Electric is beginning to work in more circumstances than hybrid, but diesel still has a point as well. Diesel still has a massive future to it. So I don't know if Mazda's going down the right route in trying to lighten everything up and make it this really hyper efficient, but under a lot of pressure engine. If you talk to any mechanic out there, you'd have to get a mechanic. Mechanics are a bit weird. They tend to buy things that just don't break. But if you talk to mechanics out there, you talk to people who are in the business, a car that's under a lot of pressure, an engine that's under a lot of pressure, doesn't tend to last. It just doesn't have longevity. Now, we don't all hold on to cars for 10 or years or 12 years or 20 years, but there's no reason why you can't have a car that's on the road that's 20 years old. That's easy. That's easily done. Just a matter of minding the car. Now, will any of these little high pressure, high intensity, high output engines last more than 5 or 6 years? I don't know. Look at EcoBoost. It's happened to Ford. They got an EcoBoost engine. They're going out up in flames in the UK. There's going to be court cases over it. And I said it at the launch. I said it when I first drove an EcoBoost engine. That turbo spinning at 250,000 RPM just sounds like an absolute nightmare of yours. Definitely going to break. 3 years later, they're all on fire and they're recalling some cars. So you've got a problem for a small engine that can't tolerate high pressure. And it's not even like it needs to be just driven all the time. Bloody hell, there's 90 of you here watching. What's going on? If you nothing better to do this Sunday. I had my first Irish coffee last night. This is not an Irish coffee now because I have to actually go out and drive later on. But I had my first Irish coffee last night. I got a bit of Bushmills whiskey. It's really nice. But I'm looking for a good brandy, but I'm not willing to pay a lot of money for it. So I need any recommendations for a brandy for I know before anyone mentions and goes freaking out, you don't use a brandy for Irish coffee, but you can. You can use whatever you want in Irish coffee. And we also like brandy cream. You get it in Tesco's and Dunn's. Don't think Aldi have it this year or Lidl, but brandy cream is lovely. There's an Aldi one that's really nice, but I haven't seen it yet. And there's I think Aldi do a good brandy as well. I just like a brandy in an Irish coffee. Last night I had Bushmills whiskey in an Irish coffee. It was really nice. Right, sorry, back on track. Don't drink and drive, by the way, ever. I don't, never. Claudio says, what do you think about Alfa Romeo 8C? Is it the best modern car dressing ever? I think you're thinking about the looks of it. Yes, it is an outstandingly pretty, bite the back of your hand, gorgeous vehicle. Driving it? Not so sure. That's a different story. I think when you look at something, it's gorgeous. I've driven a 4C here a couple of times in Ireland. Did I make a video of the 4C? I can't remember. Hey, it's in a carbon fibre tub. It's really noisy and rattly. It's great fun. You can't see where any of the wheels are. You can't see out the back window. It's good fun. 8C, I had a spin in that when I was over in the UK. A mate of mine owns one. So I had a little spin of it. I couldn't film it because it's actually his car. And that was kind of the same. It's nice. It's an event, but it's really hard to drive. It's such a wide thing. And you can't see where the wheels, where anything is. And it's very race car. It's lovely, but it is one of the most beautiful cars in the world. As a poster on my wall, I think it's gorgeous. But would I buy one? Don't know about that now. Sorry, skip forward all of a sudden because it fills in. See, what happens is all the other questions come in underneath, and then when I scroll, it remembers that there's other questions, and it starts to scroll to them, and then it fills in the blanks. So I lose my place just for a second. Wait now, I'm so far behind already. Mark Hodge, hi Bob. Have you test drove the new gearbox on the Ford Galaxy Auto yet? Yes, I have, and no, I don't like it. The Power Shift one was an absolutely brilliant little gearbox, gorgeous. I know it had problems in Australia. They have some court cases there over recall, but it was to do with the dry environment of Australia. It was something to do with sucking the powdery sand into the Power Shift box, and it messed it up. And Ford wouldn't do anything about it, and then suddenly they went, okay, there's a lot of gearboxes, and then they just took Power Shift off the market instead of doing anything about it. The new gearbox is not as strong as Power Shift. It won't put up the high torque level. It didn't feel like it. I felt like I was being pulled back all the time. I'd have to drive it in a Galaxy, the newest one that they've got, to see what the gearbox is like. But I've had it in a Focus. I've had the Galaxy without the Power Shift, and it's nice. It's fine under daily circumstances. I think it'd be okay. But the gearbox itself is kind of woolly in comparison to Power Shift, which Power Shift was easier competitor for anything that came out of the Volkswagen Group in DSG form. So that was really good, but the newer one, not so great. Dermot, hi Bob, have you heard of auto gearboxes picking up metal in the box? Father-in-law, 6-year-old Civic. Ooh, Civic, Honda automatic gearboxes are crap, lads. Honest to God, every one of them break. Sorry, Honda. I know, it never feels like I'm giving it up, but your manual gearbox is absolutely outstanding. Automatic gearbox in Honda is to be avoided. Not only is it doesn't really change very well, but also it breaks all the time. Because Honda make their own bloody gearbox. Did you know that? Honda make their own gearbox. And they're not specialists in making gearboxes. They put in their own auto box instead of buying the one which everyone told them to buy, which is the one from Aisin. There's a company called Aisin. It's a Japanese company. I don't think they're owned by Toyota, but they make gearboxes and they're 100% good. They work forever. They can be tuned up and tuned down to do all sorts of things. But the one in this Honda's made their own one and it breaks all the time. Anyway, sorry, Darren, nearly finished your question there. And told it should be scrapped due to the cost of a new box. 9k seems strange, never heard. That's I wouldn't say scrap, I would say find a new gearbox. You could, no you can't, could you? I don't think you could drop the transmission out and replace that with a manual. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the specs of the whole thing to see if could you drop out the transmission and put in a manual gearbox, which would not be 9 grand, that's for sure. I don't know if that price is including fitting for 9 grand, a gearbox and 9 grand to fit the whole thing. But 9 grand seems extraordinarily high for a gearbox price. Could be brand new, look refurbished. It's hard to cut your losses on something, but never again. I know multiple stories across the world of Honda automatic gearboxes just breaking randomly, picking up metal, chunks of teeth in the bottom of the gearboxes, all that sort of stuff. It can be heartbreaking when you see your car do that. It can also be heartbreaking to have to walk away from it, but sometimes you do just have to cut your losses and run. Surely it's a 6-year-old car. Surely Honda would do something somewhere to help out, because this is an extraordinarily, for a 6-year-old car to lose its gearbox is just terrible. But talk to your mechanic, you know, get quotes, talk all around the place, talk to everybody, go online, ask in our forum, go over to the Sunday Service on Facebook. If you look for the Sunday Service community on Facebook, or there's a link down below, or Andy McAfee will give you a link there to go over to Sunday Service and ask in there. See, is there a mechanic hanging around? You'd be surprised. I don't know how many people are on it now, 400 or 500 people or something. There might be a mechanic in there who'll be able to help you out, or at least give you good guidance. Or there might be some guys in there who drive Civics and know what it's like and know what's going on. So ask in there. It's really worth your while. I frequent it quite regularly myself. There's always good stuff going on in there, but check it out. GD1, how's the Bob lad? I'm okay, I'm not too bad. Andy McPhee, the up to 6 weeks for Skoda from factory delivery time is from rolling off the line from order as much as 9 months if you've everything conspires against you. Average seems to be about 3.5 months. That'd be alright, yeah. From talking to people in the motor trade, there is a noticeable increase in the amount of UK imports with seemingly low mileage coming back from the serious issues not compatible to mileage really. Okay, so mileage is a very tiny indicator on the condition of a car. So when I go to view a car, and people regularly, particularly family and friends and stuff, ask me regularly to go along with them when they're buying a used car or a new car or going to a dealership or whatever it is. So the things I look out for on a used car particularly are, I want to see the pedals. So when I look down at the pedals, the clutch pedal will generally have a little bit of wear on one side of it, as someone used their left foot to push it all the time. The brake pedal won't have as much wear, and the accelerator pedal won't have quite as much wear as either one of those two, because you don't press it very hard. Unless you're flooring the bloody thing all the time. Now I'm looking for two things. One is, I'm looking for the mileage versus the wear on those pedals. So it should be, you should be able to see that they're about the same. You know, it's an average looking wear on the pedals. And then you look at other stuff. My God, there's 100 people watching. 101 people watching now. What's after happening? I don't mind. Bring it. You're all good. Other stuff you're looking for on the car is the steering wheel, flat points. People are always touching the steering wheel, so there'll be flat points around the edges of it where the texture of it is flattened out a bit. And the top of the gear stick, if it's a manual, if it's an automatic, you won't really have a lot of wear on it, but you're looking for that kind of worn out feel to the whole thing. The seats tell you a lot as well. People get in and out. If everything is rotten looking and it says 10,000 kilometers or 50,000 kilometers on it, you kind of go, there's something wrong, this just doesn't work. Great advice is, if it's not stacking up in your head, just walk away. Just walk away. If you get confused, what's the hurry? Why not wait another week? If you lose out in the car, well, tough. You know, you lost out in the car. Maybe someone else is going to have to pick up all the crap from you. So be very, very careful with what you're choosing to spend money on. If it doesn't look right, smell right, something dodgy about the whole deal, something the person's a bit shifty, maybe the chem in your car that you're looking at was on a trailer when it arrived. Maybe there's no tax, no insurance, no NCT on it. Whatever it is that makes you feel a little bit weird, walk away. Just walk away. Forget about it. Another car will come up. You'll be okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. You're not going to miss out on your dream vehicle. There's plenty of other dream vehicles out there that you can buy as well. It's the Brexit and UK imports. UK imports, nothing wrong with them. Every dealer has one. At least one. I was just having a coffee there. I was driving by a dealership the other day, I won't say which one, and outside his dealership was 9 cars, all with their butts facing the road, and every one of them with a UK reg on them. So it's not just ordinary people importing UK regs that's changing the system here. It is the dealerships themselves. Hellhound, never heard that name before, so you must be new here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon right beside that. And if you want to support the channel, there is links down below for PayPal, Patreon, and something else. Super Chat, that's the other thing. In a minute, there's so much to remember. Super Chat is right here on YouTube. You can just click that little $sign that's beside the smiley face in the chat, and leave a little tip in the tip jar. Just keep it all moving forward. Anyway, Hellhound. Up, he says, what's your views on the Panda getting 0 stars in the NCAP tests? Okay, so if you took my car, which is 12 years old, say it, Leon, originally in 2005, that was 2006, that was tested by NCAP, and it got 3 stars, 4 stars, whatever it was at the time. It was missing a star due to pedestrian safety. So if I hit a pedestrian in that car, it was going to break their hip. That's what was going to happen, because the bonnet wasn't long enough for something. Their head was going to hit the windscreen. So it got 1 less star than the maximum. Now, if I tested that car today, it would get 0 stars. And that is because the test has moved on, but the car has remained the same. So the test now tests for city safe, ABS brakes, many things. The length of bonnets, the height of the windshield, the height of the front of the car, the width apart of the lights, how far, what kind of material the lights are made out of, side impact, rear impact, front impact. All these new tests have come out. And so when you don't update your car, as Fiat didn't update their car, and they crash it again, it got 0 stars because it only got 3 or 4 or something to begin with. Now the problem is that NCAP has become a bit of a laugh of itself, and so there's a US one as well. It's a bit funny, right? Because only under the perfect circumstances of a collision will a 5-star car fare any better than a 4-star car, and the same for 3-star. Now a 0-star car and a 5-star car, that's a bit different, right? The Dacia Duster has 3 stars now, the newest one, and they don't go on about it, and yet Renault are able to build a car that always gets 5 stars. You ever think about that? Every single Renault over all of the years has always gotten 5 stars. Why? Because they build it to pass it. They don't build it to be safer. They actually build to pass. They know what tests are, so they build a car. So does Volkswagen. So they all do it. They all build exactly to pass it. And so I don't know whether it would put me off a Panda, I'd certainly be thinking about the City Safe and stuff, because I find City Safe actually really good, and it has saved my ass on a couple of occasions. So I have no problem with that. Marcus points out there the Punto has got 0 stars, and that has gone off sale. There's a great thing in business as well. If you look at, there's another thing that happens as well. You know, when a company recalls, we'll say, wash spinach from Aldi, and they say that it could cause listeria. That stuff, might as well just forget about it now. It'll never be sold again. It's gone. Throw it in a bin. The whole lot has to go. Not only because it's poison now, but even into the future. People will always remember the recall. It's a bit like eggs. Remember that politician in the UK said it caused salmonella and nearly killed the egg industry overnight, when actually it's not. It's a shell of an egg that caused salmonella. It's not. It's undercooking and of course the shell itself. But besides that, that's what happens. And the same has happened to the Punto. Unfortunately, my favourite car in the Fiat range was always the Panda with its little squircles, and now it's got 0 points. It'll probably never sell again, so I like it. But like any old car, like I say, my car outside the door, it had 3 or 4 stars when it was tested first. It would have 0 now. Chances are maybe at the best it would have 1 star, because it has some airbags in it, and it manages to have side airbags as well. No deal Brexit. Seriously thinking about moving to Ireland when it hits the fan. I'm a HGV driver. What's the demand like for HGV drivers? As far as I'm aware, there is a huge demand for HGV drivers in Ireland and across Europe. Generally speaking, because it's a tough job and lots of people don't do it. Long distance guys are giving up doing it because ferries are late, ferries are full, it's hard to get through blockades. It's difficult to get fuel. Prices have gone up and gone down, and it's very difficult to get through places. So long distance ones are in need over here and over there. But a lot of businesses are moving to the north of Ireland. Weirdly, I know some trucking industry people who can tax and insure and run their fleet and pay their drivers less if they register the whole business in Northern Ireland and drive in the south. So I'm not too sure how that works. But as HGV drivers go and Brexit goes, Brexit is going to be a disaster zone, and no one seems to be in charge of it. I love the guy from Luxembourg, though, which I thought was brilliant. The Prime Minister of Luxembourg, when your man says, would you not concede on some sort of backstop or other? And he just looked straight in the man's face and went, Brexit is your deal, not mine, and just walked off. And that was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant clip. But I don't like the bravado of the whole thing, but at the same time, it is up to the UK now. It's up to what's happening over the UK. The Tories are trying to hold on to things. The Conservatives are trying to derail the whole lot. It seems like there's no end to how it's going to go, and now they're all going to go on a little holiday over. I don't understand why do they let rich people make these decisions? Rich people only make decisions to make things richer. I don't understand that. Why do they not let poor people make decisions? Anyway. As Cross says there, pretty high demand for drivers here. There is, and bus drivers as well, by the way, especially during summer. There's a lot of tour bus stuff goes on here in summer. Need to be careful with these imports, as the amount of clocked models, even newish cars, very high. Need to watch out for unusual wear patterns when buying. Just do a search. Go on to Motor Check, Cartel. What's the other ones? I can't remember the other ones. There's 2 that I remember anyway. Motor Check and Cartel. I'm sorry if you're in that trade, but I can't remember what it is. Pop it up on the screen there and I'll read it out. Go on there, put in the reg plate. It'll tell you all about the UK one. If it looks sniffy, dodgy, weird, doesn't match up, whatever it is, walk away. Just walk away. It's your money. Don't spend. Look, best thing, I always remember one time, one of the first times I actually bought my own car. I think it was £3,000 I paid for it. But I actually had £3,000 in my hands in cash to go and buy the car. As the first time I really learned the value of money. It's so easy now to go and just swipe a card or just do a transaction on a credit card or a debit card or whatever it is. Get cash. Figure out how much something is in cash and try and buy it that way. It's much harder than you think to part with all the many thousands of euro when it's sitting there in cash in front of you. But with clocked models, I don't believe there's an increase in them. I think that's a suspected thing that's put out by the car industry over here to try and put you off cars bought in the UK, as if there's somehow the UK people stand around clocking their cars the whole time. I just don't believe it. I don't. It doesn't really happen as much here as you might think either. I would do the history check. Do your due diligence, it's called. Don't leave it up to the dealership to do that. And you'll always be good. Paul Riddell is back for another question. I ordered my Karoq on the 1st of September and it arrived at the dealers this week, but have been put off collection until the 2nd of January, but that's a UK order. UK get a bigger allotment of cars than Ireland does, but yes, that is kind of how sometimes it works out. Depends on the colour you pick. Here in Ireland, we try and predict what people are going to buy. So often a car company like Skoda will go to the Skoda factory and they'll ask for an allotment of 300 units. And they want 50 grey, 50 silver, 100 black and 150 white or whatever it is. And they try and predict how the sales are going to go through the week. So those cars are in production. And then it's up to the dealership to try and sell those cars to the end users, or if they want to order one specifically in orange, they can do that as well, but that means they'll have to go into the order sheet and it takes longer, so months possibly in the wait until their allotment goes back up again. The new Kia Soul is going to be EV only in Europe as predicted, petrol available in the US and Asia, but EV only here. That's true, that is coming. I've seen the Kia Soul video by, I think, New Motoring, I think is his website or his YouTube channel. Nice chap, met him on an international launch of something, forget what it was, we were on the international launch of, but he went over to South Korea to try, I was going to say North Korea, but South Korea to try the electric car, and it seems pretty good. But again, the same old sort of black interior that Hyundai and Kia put out. I will be driving a new Hyundai Kona EV in January, along with the I-Pace and the Leaf, and I had the e-Golf here, the i3 here. I don't have any more cars this year. Well, I'm picking up one tomorrow. My last vehicle of 2018 is tomorrow. D Woodhouse, never seen your name before. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you've never been here before, and the like button, and the little bell button, and the super chat button. You hit that as well, and the PayPal link, and the Patreon link if you want as well. There's lots of ways to support the channel if you really want to. Woodhouse says, hello Bob, starting a job next year. Congratulations, well done on getting your job. I hope it is everything you wanted to be and so much more. If you can be happy in your employment, you have already gotten 99% ahead of everybody else on earth who is never happy with their job. But if your new job is working out, well done, congratulations. I'm very happy for you, honest to God. Anyway, starting a new job next year, will commute 130 miles a day. That's a fair whack now. That's a lot. That's like 70, no it's not. 130 miles a day. Okay, I'm getting the figures in my head. Got a BMW 640 diesel. Well done. I don't want to put down big miles on. Used for me, small I guess, but comfortable with good MPG. You're going to have to go with something German, probably something like a Skoda Octavia or a Volkswagen Golf. I wanted a 2-litre diesel ones. Great MPG. I would buy an automatic if you can. It really makes very little difference to the MPG. But definitely go with something around that German fixation. I suppose you're in a BMW, so you won't get the best out of what else would there be in diesel. See, the problem is diesel. You're going to have to go diesel. 130 miles is a lot. Like that's nearly 200 kilometers. 100 there, 100 back. You could do that in an electric car. You could definitely do it. As long as you can have electric charge points on both ends, you're going to need both, because 100 kilometers is going to pull the bits out of a battery on a motorway the whole time. So you could go electric as well, but diesel is probably your best option. So I'd go for a used Volkswagen Golf. Go back a few years and just buy a 2-litre diesel. Don't worry about mileage. 2-litre diesel won't give you any problems for years to come. But congratulations on the new job and good car. Annie McAfee says, fair demand like the rest of Europe, but lower pay, and depending on where moving from, and specifically too, can be little difference of cost of living. If thinking Northern Ireland the worst pay on earth, yeah, Northern Ireland pay seems to be very strange, seems to be in its own unique zone up there, not even comparable to the UK, where obviously the government departments and things work out of, so it seems weird. ATC Kildare, is that air traffic control Kildare? Are you an air traffic controller? Anyway, SIMI predict that new car sales will drop 10,000 units to 115,000 units next year. The more UK imports, the less new cars sold. I don't believe that for 1 second. I tell you now straight off. Okay, so you've got two market forces happening here. Used cars come in not just from the UK, but mostly from the UK because they drive on the same side of the road as us, and because the Northern Ireland is attached to us without a border. So you can just go there and buy a car. I do find it really poor journalism that I saw on RTE News the other day. Absolutely ferocious. I mean, deserves a good kick up the arse, to be honest with you, because there was a young lady, I can't remember what her name is, a journalist, I assume, but not a very good one, went up to Northern Ireland and talked to one dealer, a Toyota dealer, about importing a car into Ireland. He said, of course, there's a train, we'll collect you from the train, we'll bring you down, we'll do whatever you want to do. Oh, I trade in euro as well, sure, why not? And never once asked an Irish, an over the border in the Republic side, Irish car dealership, what they thought of buying cars with the North. But anyway, besides that, the SMI predicted a drop of 10,000 units in new car sales will have little to do with the used car. If you're going to buy a new car, you're not looking at used cars. This is just disproportionately bad to start talking this way. They're talking down the Brexit thing and everything else next year is what they're really trying to do. I don't believe for 1 second that buying a used car, how many used cars are sold, has an effect on new cars. If you look at used car sales in Ireland, they have always paced far ahead new car sales, way out in the distance. We buy more used cars here than we buy new cars. It's always been that way. Our market tends to hang in around between 115 and 150, somewhere in those two regions. At the very peak of car sales in Ireland, we saw 220,000 a year. That was the peak, and that was only 1 year. So that'll never be occurred again. So a prediction of dropping to 115,000 would be about market average, because we have reduced the fleet due to PCP over the last 4 or 5 years. We've reduced the amount of cars, the amount of aged cars on the road by a considerable amount. We've had a couple of scrappy schemes. We've had a lot of cars leave the roads. So the desire for new cars just isn't there. And we have a massive disconnect between car companies and journalism. So car companies do their own thing, and then the SAMI do their own thing, and nobody's going to talk to one another. And if you're not using the journalisms out there, you've got a problem straight away. So between all that sort of stuff, it just doesn't work. And then very few journalists really review a car. Right? That's a whole different story. GD1 says, if you go for a UK import, try to get a low mileage model. I bought 4 or 5 UK imports and never had an issue with any. You're just lucky. Don't worry about mileage. Mileage is the least of your worries. If the mileage matches the wear and tear on the car, then there isn't a problem. If the mileage doesn't match the wear and tear, if the wear and tear looks more worn and torn than the mileage says it should, or go to a dealership, get your car there from a main dealer. They will have to warranty the car and look after the car. If you're going to buy it from adverts or done deal or whatever it is, you're just going to ask for trouble. If you don't get yourself knowledge up here, or bring someone like me or a mechanic or someone with you who understands this sort of stuff, don't go on your own. Don't do stupid deals. You're going to just piss money into the car. There's something wrong with it, particularly if it's a high performance car. And I'm talking about a BMW, an Audi, a Mercedes, any of those cars. You are just going to throw money at the car. If you're thinking about a car, please, here's the single piece of advice I do for you. Ask the guy, whoever, or girl, whoever's selling the car, what size tyres are on it specifically. Ask what kind of tyres are on it. So you want 225 or 15, whatever it is. And then go and price those tyres. If you can't afford to replace those tyres, then don't buy that car. You're at nothing, because the tyres will have to be replaced every 2 to 3 years, at least, if not more than that, depending on its use. I need a plan to get a HGV work. I need a plan to get HGV work in Ireland. In the EEA, my current license is valid. After we leave, I will need to get an Irish address and get an Irish HGV license. Going to be costly, crazy cash. I am determined. I know what I'll do now in the morning. Set up a little office here in Ireland that deals with getting licenses for HGV goods vehicles and citizenship and all sorts of stuff. No, but in fairness, that is true. Some EEA members, they, in that common zone, the UK will not be in the common zone anymore, and that's the problem. They won't be in that common area anymore. So if you have a UK driver's license, you might not, we don't know. This is the problem, of course. We don't know. You might not be able to drive in Europe without getting another license, a European driver's license or whatever it is, secondary one. The Republic of Ireland is, of course, going to stay in the EU as normal. So if you're a citizen here, you can drive anywhere in Europe on your driver's license. You don't need another one or a different one or anything else. I have a standard old pink driver's license. I didn't change it. You're not allowed to change it until it runs out, until it expires, to the new card system. And then you can lose your license. Then you can change it all you want. Don't say that. So many of you watching still. This is brilliant. Click the like button. It'd be brilliant for you to do that. It's just, it relieves the pressure. It relieves that pent up anguish inside of you that you feel carried around you every day when you click the like button. Click the subscribe button. The thumbs up button is the like button, by the way. No one click the down vote button. Actually, I don't care whether you click it or not. Just click a button. Click the subscribe button. Click the bell button. You can support this channel if you give on Super Chat or PayPal or Patreon or whatever way you want to do it. Everything is welcome, and everything goes to upgrading our systems and making sure that this channel remains free. But anything you can give is always brilliant. Always good to have you here. There are many millions of questions to get through, and we're already almost an hour into the Sunday service. You are so good to be here. Lots of you wonder where the pancetta is. The pancetta is not well. It didn't survive, so we have to buy another one. I'm going to show you now. There it is. It looks a bit miserable. It's not because we didn't feed it, it just didn't live. So we have to buy a second one. So the pancetta will return from next week once we find a one that will live longer. I think we got that one in Aldi. So Aldi, thanks for giving us a dead pancetta. No, I mean, it wasn't dead when we bought it, just died. And yet the other ones we've had over the years have lasted right into June and July. Anyway, you can unilaterally move to Northern Ireland and claim Irish citizenship and do it that way, says Andy McAfee. There you are. He's from Northern Ireland. Mick Mulcahy says hi. Hi, Mick. Possibility, Andy McAfee, but the UK government may want to throw yet more spanners in the works. Put it this way, I would rather work and pay tax to the winning side than pay the idiots that created this mess. Yeah, that's a problem, alright. You see more of that coming. There's more of that idiot blaming stuff coming at the moment. I saw a great report on Channel 4 this morning? It was really good. He asked these people in the street, just stopped people in the street and asked them, what immigrants do you want to stop coming into the UK? And the man goes, oh, I don't know. And he showed them a few things like doctors and nurses and stuff. And they're going, oh, no, you want to keep them? Oh, no, you want to keep them coming in. Okay. So after a bit, he said, okay, so you want all of those people to come into the country. So who do you want to stop then? He couldn't answer. Didn't know. No one knows. What do you stop? Like, stopping immigration in the country? I know some lovely Muslim people who, they're lovely, and I know some lovely Spanish people and people from Brazil and people from the Czech Republic and Poland and Russia, and they're just lovely people. They're not here to cause any trouble. They're here because they want to work, and that's it, really. And they usually are working. Almost all of them are working, because most of these people can't just draw the dole in Ireland. It's not that straightforward. And that's just the way life is. Stephen Andrews says, hi Bob, Sandyford Motor Centre have a 508 there in the forecourt you could ask for. Don't want to do that. I'll tell you why. There is a kind of an unwritten law about getting car reviews in Ireland from dealership for journalists. It's not done. It's not right. You shouldn't really do it. You should wait until all the journalists have had a swing at it and everyone kind of gets an even go at it. Different for international launches. If you're on an international launch, something like I was on the 508 international launch, then that's published first thing. Just goes out and it's done, and we're all on the same trip, and that's it. But country specific ones where dealerships have had the car and they're just showing it, usually those cars aren't drivable. Usually you can just go in and have a little poke about and have a look at the car. It's for attracting customers, but it usually means there's only one. Like at the moment there's a Tarraco going around. I was on the international launch the other day, but there's actually one going around the dealerships, and I think it's left-hand drive. That's not for driving. You can just have a look at the thing. So if you want to see it, of course, you can go to Sandyford Motor Centre. They have one, and we want to see a 508. The Saint says, plus I can retire to Portugal much more easy. Yeah, we can go anywhere in Europe. I was all over Europe in the last couple of years, actually last decade. So I've been in pretty much every European country there is to be in, and I've never been asked for my papers or visas or anything. It's great. Anyway. Realistically, as long as you already hold 5 years driver CPC DQC, the maximum in an utter disaster deal is simply attend to take a test again and gain an LGV license. Wise words, Mandy McAfee. There you are. Is it still legal to tow a car with a tow rope? That is a good question. And no, it's never been legal to tow a car. I know it has. It's been fine. It's stupid. I don't think there is actually. There would be a dangerous driving clause, I would imagine. There would be something like that would come up from it rather than being an illegal thing to do. There would be the stupidity of it as well. So there's specific tow ropes that you can use to tow a car with. There is also the far safer axle frame system, which locks onto the axle of the car behind like a triangle. It's like making a trailer from the car behind you, and it takes over the steering of the car behind you as well. So when you're towing it, it's still on all its four wheels, but you're steering it. Now it's an expensive thing, but you only ever have to buy it once. Much safer. I don't know if it's illegal, but using now a piece of blue rope will get you a summons for being dangerous in general. So using a car as a dangerous tool, column F, and you should tow it properly. Steve says any VSOP brandy or Armagnac is good. XO for special occasions, but tend to be pricey. I will remember those words when I go to Aldi this evening and have a look, see what they have, Steve. I'd say Aldi probably my best bet for a decent sort of a brandy. See, I want two because I want to give one as a present, and then I want to drink the other one myself. It's only for Irish coffees. It's not a drinking problem. It's not an Irish thing. It's just when someone comes round to the house and your friends over, whatever it is, the Irish coffee start to flow, and of course you run out of whiskey. Some people don't like whiskey as well, it's the other part of it. I'm not a big fan of whiskey, I have to say. I prefer a good brandy now would be my thing, or actually a glass of wine would be much nicer, to be honest with you. But I do love an Irish coffee. I do look forward to it. I only do it this time of the year. I look forward to it. It's my little treat. After the 23rd of this month, I think that's where I'm closing. This part of my business closes for a few days. So from the 23rd onwards, I just kind of look forward to that moment of an Irish coffee and a bit of TV. Which reminds me, Alex Goy yesterday, most of you will probably know who Alex Goy is, a mate of mine from the UK. He tweeted out, he said, I've watched Die Hard and I've had some Christmas things, and I was going, that's just typical, that's absolutely perfect. Christmas has begun. Pat Nolan is here. Hi Bob, love the show. Won't be around next Sunday to catch you. You live so happy. Oh yeah, sorry. Won't be around to catch you live. See, the English language, live and live are spelled the same way. So happy Xmas to the family. Regards from AKA DZG189. Good man, Pat Nolan. Well done. Happy Christmas to you as well. Hopefully you will get all you wish for, and Santa will bring you loads of presents. Andy McAfee has tweeted or put up a picture there, or a link there to our Facebook group if you want to join us. If you have any questions, or you think the questions, it's something I can't answer here, whatever, you can put it on Sunday Service community on Facebook and join us there. There's many, many, many beautiful, helpful people on our Facebook group. Regular contributors to the place. It's a lovely place to hang out. It's a private closed group, so you have to ask to join. That's only to keep the lunatics out, of which we've had many lunatics apply, haven't we, Andrew? And he had to deal with a few along the way. So did I as well. Some real wild ones. UK imports with low mileage tend to be ex-fleet cars and can be driven extremely unsympathetically by the first company owner, knowing it's not theirs, and going back likewise with leased cars. Generally speaking, that would be about true. Yeah, most of the time company vehicles are treated fairly harshly. But on the flip side of that, company vehicles tend to be serviced extremely well, because it's part of the lease plan system that you must service between these 2 points. You must service in this dealership, and it has to have this kind of deal in it. And so they're generally serviced beyond their limit, whereas a privately owned car is treated better, but tends to be serviced much more kind of sporadically. Service history is important. Someone who's looking after a car will have a service history. Paul Collins, Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas, Paul, and to you and yours. I bought my daughter's an '09 Fiesta for an NCT and failed because I didn't know I had to take the hubcaps off. That's a visual. Oh man, I'd break his arse. I have to say, I would get up and crap on the table in front of him if that's why I failed. Honest to God, that's an awful thing. What are they looking for when they're checking the wheels? Anyway, so what they're looking for is the wheel nuts. Make sure you've got all the wheel nuts on, which is the first thing. But they remove a wheel. So they'll loosen all the wheel nuts, take it off, and they're checking your brakes and checking all the stuff underneath the wheels. So if they can't get access to the wheel nuts, and God love them, sure, what would it be? Jeez, it'd be terrible hard to take a wheel cap off. Of course it is ridiculously difficult. Anyway, it's just prickology as far as I can see. Realistically, all they really want to do is make sure that there are no locking wheel nuts on there that they have to remove or anything like that. They just want to see it. They're just being arsey. That's all it comes down to. You're paying them to fail your car. It's a horrible system. And all of the money goes over to Spain, all over to Appliance Plus, who take all of that money and then don't bother giving us any back. Because we sold the NCT system. The Irish government just went, here's the baby and the bathwater. We're just going to give it all away now to the NCT. Get those old cars off the road. So I'm terribly sorry to hear about that, Paul. That should never happen. Of course, they should have just taken the bloody wheel caps off and get it done. But of course, you should have taken them off as well. So you're partly to blame for not doing it. But at the same time, they're not looking for much, to be honest with you. Zedringo has arrived. I've met you before. Hi Bob, your opinion on new Qashqai with the 1.3 litre petrol, British built car with French engine and parts of Spain. Sounds bad to me, but who knows? Exactly, that's the problem. Who knows? The relationship Nissan has with Renault is not doing Nissan any favours. Nissan have such a limited amount of cars to sell. They're putting all their focus on the Nissan Leaf. They're taking all their focus off the Qashqai and the X-Trail and the Pulsar and those other cars they've got out there. I would suggest to you that I would very carefully consider my options with a Nissan Qashqai. That market is saturated with a lot of lovely cars. There is such a wide variety of choice in there. Nissan, Renault, I'm just not convinced that Renault-Nissan alliance is really doing anyone any favours. I think it's done Renault a lot of favours. I'm not sure it's doing Nissan any favours in Europe. Just you're in that same place. A British built car, nothing wrong with that. It's built in Solihull. I've been in the factory. They're lovely people up there. Really great little factory. I don't know what its future is when come Brexit time, but it's a solid place, a lovely place to hang out. I know a good few people from Solihull actually. I keep in touch with some of the lads I met on the factory line as I walked around watching the cars being built. But at the same time, I don't know. Just that's a tough decision to make. You really would have to consider your options there. You're in a segment of a market that is polluted with choice, and choice is brilliant, but you'll have to sit back and weigh up your pros and cons. Whether you want to have a Qashqai, or whether you want to go Karoq, or you want to look at Tiguan or T-Rock, or there's just so much stuff in that one single segment out there, and there's so much more stuff coming into it every time I open my mouth. There seems to be a new car in that segment. Hi Bob, what do you think of the BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe? Beautiful car, Derek Mees. That really does look the part. I really like the look of the car. Be careful of the engine choice. I think the diesel one doesn't really do it any favours. I'd like to see more petrols on the road in that respect. But I hear rumours of some electric cars coming from BMW in the near future, and the 4 Series is a target of one of those. It'll be a different car. It won't be called the 4 Series, but it's going to look very like the 4 Series. But any of the Grand Coupes are much nicer than their standard counterparts. There's a thing to remember. The 6 Series Grand Coupe is nicer than the 6 Series. The 4 Series is nicer than the standard 4 Series is not as nice as the Grand Coupe versus the 4 Series. They're always nicer with the kind of sloping back on them. Don't know why. Slurp of coffee there. See, if I was on the radio here, I'd be taking an ad break to have a slurp of coffee, but I can't because there's no ads here. There's no ad breaks. I don't take them. I'm real. I keep on going to the bitter end. God, there's a lot of people watching right now. What's going on? This is huge. Click the like button. Support the channel as well. Super chat is right there if you want to support the channel in a simple, straightforward, easy payment way. Or you can do PayPal, which is just a link down below, or just go to paypal.com. Bobflav at thenextgear.com. Don't know my email address. Or you can go over to Patreon. All the links are down below. Whatever you want to do is right there. Also, why aren't you wearing a yellow vest, mate? I thought you might show solidarity with the auto journalists in France who are protesting these days. Yeah, I know. A lot of protests going on in France. The French are very good at protesting, in fairness to them. They tend to burn their own cars in the streets and then burn their own houses down, which is brave. I don't know, it worked for them, didn't it? They got a 6-month stay on the price of fuel going up, and taxes, and wages, and Macron there is doing his thing. But you're looking at a lot of spin from both sides. There's a lot of spin going on. Don't know if Ireland is not a great place for protesting like that. I'd love to see more of it here, but I'm not too sure we're very good at it or whether we can do it. or whether the desire is there to do it. We have a two-speed economy here. We have very rich, well, not rich people. We have people who earn a lot of money, who are earning a lot more money. And we have people who didn't earn a whole lot that are earning less. And that is down to our own Leo Varadkar, who is continuously pushed ahead with whatever he wants to do and not listened whatsoever to the general public. And then you have our Minister for Transport, who is asleep at the wheel. Not even at the wheel. He's just asleep in the back seat, I think. I don't think he actually is connected to human beings, or whether he understands how human beings actually work when he brings out these rules and regulations. I think he just turns up in an office on a Monday and goes, what did I do today to upset people? Let me just think about that. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll have a scaling system. So if you forget your handbag or your wallet, I'm going to get you 2 points on your license. That'd be good, wouldn't it? No, you can't produce it at a station. Oh, no. You can't do that anymore. Just going to give you 2 points if you haven't got it with you. That's typical. And that's what he wants to bring out. And I think he should be fired. I think he should be gone from the job. But I don't know. He's supported there by Leo Varadkar. There's not much I can do about it. But Minister for Transport is useless to you. Useless. And if you're in a transport company, or you're in a fleet company, or you're a company car driver, he's going to get a lot more useless to you very soon. How easy is it to do car personal import to Ireland from the USA? It is actually quite easy. I would love to import, don't laugh, a Cadillac ELR. That's a lovely car. It's a lovely Cadillac. Makes some really weird, wild and wonderful cars just because I like the design. It's actually really easy. It's easier to import a car technically, form filling wise, from the US than it is to import one from England. I don't think anyone knew that. Literally, find the car you're looking for, give the guy some money, and then get it picked up. It goes into a container, sits on a ship, it sails over to here, it comes off in Cork docks. You tell the same people that you do the same thing. The NCT Centre deals with the whole thing. You might have to pay some customs duty on it, but if the car doesn't exist like your Cadillac does in Ireland, if you can't buy it here, you don't have to pay any import duty. Just thought I'd tell you all that. The reason, when you want to buy an Apple and you look at the Apple website in the US and it's $1,499 and you go, wow, look at $1,499 is only, wow, that's only like €1,200 or €1,100 or something. And then you come to the apple.ie website and it's €1,499, which is way more expensive. But you can't buy it from the US because there'd be a customs charge. That's because you can buy it in Ireland. But if you can't buy it in Ireland, you can buy it in the US and have it imported here and there's no charge. So that's how it works. Same from China. If you want to buy things from China, if you can't buy it here, you don't have to pay any import duty. All the import thing is slightly different. But the US does have a trade agreement with Europe and with Ireland that allows you to be able to do that. So you should have no problem. It's easy car to import. A Cadillac ELR is basically Ampera with a nicer body. Yeah, it is. Ampera's not a great car though. Anyway. The ELR looks cool, but it's mad impractical. Interior is very tight. Rented one last time I was in New York. So is the Ampera. It's only a 4-seat thing with a huge big thing down the middle. It was like 50 grand or 60 grand or something here, so never even put it on sale in Ireland. Yeah, it was on the international launch with all the same. Great Britain registered cars. You can check the MOT history online, which will show mileage at each test. The amount clocked in NI is scary. Some dealers are prolific for it. The only one has ever gone to prison. We've only ever had one instance here of cars being clocked, and it was a Citroen dealer, I think Duffy's or something in Newbridge, if I remember correctly. I forget now. It seems a long time ago. I only remember one major incident of that. Ampere was a Southern Ireland. Nearest service location is Vauxhall in Belfast. Also because it was just bloody expensive. Ampere was really good. I was briefly the fastest moving electric car in the whole world on the Autobahn in Ampere. On all electric. I drained the battery in a couple of minutes. It was booting along. Good old car though. But totally impractical and really expensive. Hi Bob, in your opinion, is second-hand Nissan Leaf with a 30 kilowatt battery enough for buzzing around Dublin if you ever live in an apartment? Yes, it is. It is, by far. About 100 to 130 kilometres, give or take, for Generation 1 Nissan Leaf. And the same for Renault ZE, Fluence ZE. They're both the same drivetrains underneath, same batteries and things. You'll have more than enough to get around there because stop-start traffic allows you to regenerate. But even so, even without the regeneration thing, a full charge of the battery, if you're going around Dublin, you're going to do a max 20, 30, 40 kilometres a day total. And I bet you charge it every couple of days. The bigger batteries get you further distance, but it tends to be, it's ever decreasing circles of return. Eventually there comes a point where the bigger batteries are not going to get you much further because you're only sprinting across, and the lighter batteries are actually going to get you better mileage. There's plenty of cases out there of people using a Generation 1 Nissan Leaf with the smallest battery still today, and it's working fine, not a bother. Just if you want, actually we got an offer here on Facebook, I think, or possibly on last week's Sunday service, of someone in Waterford or Wexford who has the device that checks the battery system in an electric car. They can hook it up and they can see how many batteries and how many cells are going, and they're willing to do it for free for anybody who wants to buy a Nissan Leaf. Go over to our Sunday Service Facebook page and register there and check it out. We'll put up a link. I think it was last week's Sunday Service on YouTube where that was mentioned. I'll find it eventually. I'll put it up there. But that will be a free way of checking any used electric car. He's able to check to see how many cells are gone in the batteries and can tell you how much it's going to cost. I fitted charging in a Dublin apartment. Easiest if you have an underground parking. Don't buy a 24 or 30 kilowatt Leaf unless you have home charging. That is correct. Don't bother. You will be charging that car a lot, or it feels that way. It feels like you're always hunting for electricity to plug it in and do all that sort of stuff. Sorry, I'm getting messages from my other accounts or my other videos. I'm getting close to 500 to 600 comments a day. So it's out of control. I can't answer all the comments anymore. Too many comments. But I do read them all still. Or do my best. The ELR looks so nice. Also based on a Delta 2 Astra-ish platform. So stupid easy to repair. 1.4 engine generator. Pricey though, about £18,000. That's a lot of money. Spafon1. That's a weird username. Weird question from that username as well. Wife's dodgy knee means getting out of a normal saloon is a problem. I want a Mazda 6. That's a normal saloon. She thinks the CX-5 would be much easier for her. Is she right, or is there much difference? Really what you have to do, so you're going to, this is going to weird, right? But you're going to have to measure the height that is comfortable to get into. I found over the years that the MPV tends to be a little bit easier to get in and out of than a saloon car. Saloons tend to be quite low to the road, lowish. Mazda 6 is a good example of a low car versus CX-5, which is probably only about 6 to 8 inches taller, but that would make all the difference on bending a knee, on taking a knee, I was going to say, which is a different story, but bending a knee to get in and out. There will be a difference between being able to get in and out of one of those kind of cars and getting in and out of a saloon. So yeah, I would be, you need a measuring tape there, and you need to check out a few cars, see which one is the most comfortable getting out of. The one that I found with hip problems, when I talked to a couple of disabled drivers about driving particular cars, and one that came up quite regularly was the Ford C-Max, which has now gone off the market, was the easiest one for people with hip problems to get in and out of, because the relationship, the height of the seat towards the sill of the car was actually quite tall. It was actually much higher up. So the sill is the bottom sill. When you open the door and you're looking down, the metal part that's left is called a sill. The height of the seat inside of that was actually quite tall. So people with hip problems found it very easy to get in and out of a C-Max. CX-5 is similar, but the CX-5 is actually quite tall. I do kind of step up into a CX-5 rather than down. The sill is the part getting your foot over that is the problem. Get out there to dealers and try both and anything else you like to look of. See what suits best. That's good advice there. Just a note on VW Autos. I have leased a VW and a Skoda DSG. I was paying for my own diesel, so neither were trashed, and both gearboxes got temperamental before 30,000 miles. There you are. DSG. Is it a high mileage gearbox or not? I just know that the Honda gearbox we're on about earlier on reports all over the world of Honda gearboxes having problems and being rebuilt and costing a fortune to get done. So gearboxes are gearboxes. I think it just depends on how they're treated. But there's advice. VW, Skoda, both of them getting temperamental 30,000 miles. Temperamental, I assume, means it's not going to select a gear or it starts to go weird on you. Maybe it needs a service. You find that sometimes you change the gearbox oil in them and it solves all of your problems. Sometimes a lighter oil, a thinner oil would solve all your problems too. Funny enough, the people that mentioned the clocked UK cars to me are actually selling them as well. Agree though that a common sense approach to buying would avoid any real horror stories. Look, you want to avoid a real horror story, don't buy a car at all is the best thing. Buy a bicycle. Honest to God, I have 3 bikes, soon to be 4. Anyway, 3 bicycles and 0 problems. Nothing. I have an old mountain bike that I bought at least a decade ago, sitting in the garage, and I took it out the other day. Now I looked after it. It's minded. It's got a little crack in the frame, but I always put WD-40 on, or a lube oil on the gears, on the chain and all. And I got up, and it's as smooth as silk running on the road. I have my Skoda bike, of course, I got this year from Skoda to do the Skoda series. Next year I'm doing a duathlon. Don't mention that now out too loud. No, it's not. It's BMW. Sponsor a duathlon series across next year, and the lovely Laura from BMW asked do I want to get involved, and I went, duathlon, that means running and cycling. Okay. As long as I'm not swimming, I should be fine. So I'm probably going to have to put on another bike there for the duathlon series, and I'm hoping to do a marathon next year as well. So the run gear's going back. So it's all happening. If you really want to just avoid all the horror stories of a car, buy a bicycle. But if you don't, then just make sure you've got somebody with you who knows what you're talking about. And I don't mean the fella down the road there who, he knows cars. I mean, bring someone who's able to tell you. I would stand there in front of a seller and go, that car's a ball of crap. Like, what are you selling that for? That'd be my reaction to someone doing it. Or, I go, no, the gearbox is broken, that. Or the wheel is not working, that. Or there's a vibration on one side. Just be honest. If you take offence at it, that's your problem. It's not my problem. Hard luck. But bring someone who knows what they're talking about when you're going to look at a car. Not necessarily your brother, your father, your uncle, your aunt, your sister, your brother, whatever. Not one of those kind of people. Sometimes you just have to pay somebody to go along with you. Local mechanic, someone you know well. Someone you know will tell you the truth, will tell you whatever it is. And you'll get what you want. Ensuring a left-hand drive ELR here would be difficult. As for the importing and registering through the UK and then moving to Ireland is easier, falling other issues. I know people who brought their cars directly in from the US, directly to here, and didn't have too much of a problem with them. God, there's still so many of you watching. You're brilliant. You're absolutely brilliant. We're into the last hour. For the last 45 minutes, I'm going to try and catch up on some questions now, because I know I'm miles behind. Patrick N has joined our Facebook group, bringing us up to 481 members. I think we'll hit 500 before Christmas. I think that will happen. We grow so fast and so quick on our Facebook page. That Facebook page, that if you want to join it, there's a link there. Andy McAfee has put up a link. That's what we organise our actual meetups in Ireland. So we're going to do another one in late January, where you can all come. We'll try and arrange a day that everybody's off. Last time we just picked the name out of our head. This time we'll try and arrange a day where everyone's off and everyone make it down. Be that a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever it is, we'll all come down and have a live meetup some Sunday again and meet us all together. EV side of the powertrain on the ELR is fairly bulletproof. Just any Opel dealer here would look an absolute confusion thing. I wouldn't be alone. I'd say it'd be more than that as well. Opel dealers would look at you in confusion talking about a Cadillac. Cross 13, that would be funny. Whoa, we'll just skip forward there. Hold on a second. I'm coming back. Frank Metcalf is here. I seen you there a second ago. Still trying to find where I started. There we are. Ford Everest or Toyota 4Runner? I got a Ford Everest question last week as well. That's weird. How does that come up? Anyway, I would go with a Ford Everest. Maybe. Although the 4Runner is quite nice. But the Everest is good. Everest is nice. I like the Everest. Yeah, it looks good. Reliable engines. Ford are fairly bulletproof when it comes to their mechanical stuff. Toyota are too, though. But Fords tend to drive a little bit nicer. And they're a nice yoke to own, to be honest with you, than a Toyota. I'm talking from the American end of Toyota, by the way. Don't panic if you're an Irish buyer thinking about all those hybrid things and all that stuff that's going on right now. These cars that can charge themselves just by sitting there, called self-charging hybrids, which is a running joke currently among journalists. One advice for poinsettia. Oh, there we go. In 1 litre of water, put a few drops of tomato feed. Mix well and leave overnight. Water the plant next day. Be prepared for a miracle. Get out of town. But really, tomato feed. Right. We got this dead poinsettia we're going to be working on here. We're going to bring it back to life, boys. I'll report in next week how that goes. We will find some tomato feed. I think I might have tomato feed out in the shed somewhere. You know that part of your shed where you bought the little chop saw and never actually took it out of the box? I think there might be tomato feed around there somewhere. Many moons ago on Middle-Aged Top Gear, James May did an undercover review of the City Rover. I remember it well, where he put a little tie camera on. When MG Rover was too scared to give him one. Bob, are you hereby challenged to pick a car to do the same? Who's too scared to give me cars? Actually, many people are too scared to give me cars this last while. There's been a few where they're all going, oh, God, I can't give him a car. They usually relent and give you something. But you know, that's a good idea though. Do an undercover report on a car from dealership. And yeah, we see. Rob Bruton, welcome to the Madhouse. Sorry if it's been mentioned already, but is there any plan to do another Sunday service meet? There is, in January. We're going to do another one. There seems to be a willing amount of people who are asking me consistently to do another one because they missed one, or they're at the last one and they want to meet all the lads again. And what I've noticed is on our Facebook page, people are talking to each other a lot more instead of talking to me now. I get included in a lot of conversations, but they're talking to each other. They're creating their own little environment, their own little thing, and they've met each other. They feel... There's nothing like meeting people face to face. I know for young people out there that can be really difficult and very hard to do, and it can often fill you full of fear and butterflies in your stomach and, you know, dry retching and all sorts of weird stuff that happens to your body when you're going to actually physically meet people. But it's vitally important that we learn how to have conversations with each other, and in that I don't think you can do that just from an internet forum. So if you can, it's always wise to come along and meet people, and particularly when it's a common interest, when we're just talking about cars. And really, when we met each other, all the conversations at the table, I don't know, there was 20 people there at least, but all the conversations at the table were about cars and about the Sunday service or a review. It wasn't about me, or it was just about cars and just ordinary people meeting up having ordinary conversations. It was kind of cool. So in late January, probably I'd say around the last week of January, somewhere in that region, we'll have a Sunday service meet up again, another physical one. And I think Midway is probably another place to do it again. I'm currently looking around to see if there are other places we can go to, but Midway or Junction 17 would be the two optimal ones, because you can charge your cars. There was 2 electric cars at the last Sunday service, a Leaf and an i3. So you can charge your cars if you need to. Petrol stations nearby to both of them, and food is nearby to both, and hotels are nearby as well. So there's a bit of everything. So late January, keep your options open. One of the 2 Sundays that are left in January, or the first one of February, somewhere around there, and we'll have another proper meetup. Also, Bob, I forgot to ask before, would you go for a Nissan Qashqai or Renault Kadjar if they're roughly the same price and have 1.3 140 bhp petrol engines mentioned above? I would probably go to Kadjar. I think it's quite a nice yacht to drive. It's not a bad thing. And it has all the modern tech in it as well. I just think the sheen's gone off the Qashqai to some degree. Out of those two, I'd pick Kadjar. But I do still like the Qashqai. They're still quite a nice little yacht to drive. But the Kadjar has just an edge on the tech and the comfort and just the general size of the car. It's a big car, for sure. It's a big car. Bob, learned so much from listening to you. Thank you. Do you ever get road rage? Some maniac on Range Rover Sport cut me off there and gave me the finger. Range Rover drivers are the worst. I do. Yes, everybody gets a little bit angst or road ragey at times. I'd not road ragey to the point where I'll pull over or run someone off the road, or, you know, tailgate them or something. I'm not interested in that. I think everybody has their own little thing in the world, their own little space. And a car, people feel very possessive about their space in a car. They believe you're too close, too far away. Someone's always going to be a better driver than you, you know, or their journey is more important than yours. Your only real sole purpose in life in a commute situation in a car is to get home. Your family wants you home, your friends want you home, you should be at home, and that's the most important part. If you can get there without raising and getting panicky or freaking out, and I do find there are people out there who get so freaked out that they film things, so they put a dash cam in their car, and then they consistently, look at this guy cut me off, and from the dash cam footage kind of going, well, you know, that's between the two of you. You both did that. You know, you knew he was coming, and yet you wouldn't let him in, or whatever it is. Just be cool to one another, you know. You just kind of let people out of junctions, let people pull it back in. And I know sometimes you get arsey about it. It's hard to do. It's hard to bite your tongue or whatever it is. But, you know, just get there. Generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of putting myself in a situation where I'm upsetting somebody else. So if somebody wants to pull into a lane and they're going to be cutting me off to do it, I just give them the space and let them go. It's a moment of your time, and it's done, it's over with, and karma's good. So yeah, I'm glad you're learning stuff though, D Woodhouse. It's always good to have people in here who want to learn, and that's why we're here to teach. I never charge for any of this, so this is the stuff I do at talks. And next year there's a few talks coming up that I'm giving next year, so hopefully keep your eyes peeled on the kind of national press. There's a few larger talks that I'm trying to plan. I have a kind of a group of people who are looking to do some talks about electric cars and future electric and future of mobility and future of all sorts of things to do with automotive industry, and they've asked me to do talks at it. So we're trying to plan how that's going to pan out and what talks we're going to do and how long the talk needs to be and props and videos and all that sort of stuff. But you'll always, as always, you will be the first people who know about these sort of things. And the same on our Facebook page. I'll put information there straight away, of course. Anyone hit the like button there 2 or 3 times just to get 100 likes would be kind of cool. It's 97 at the moment. It'd be nice to get to 100. I just like round numbers. Folk who do that invariably want a reaction from you. Give them none and blow them a kiss. It'd be likely to annoy them in return. Yeah, pretty much when it comes to being cut off of the Range Rover thing. It is kind of to elicit a reaction from you, is to get you to be upset for the rest of the day. The thing is, let it wash over you like a wave and just let it pass by and it's done. And then it doesn't upset the rest of your day. You know, that trickles on to people having nightmares and feeling bullied and feeling like they can't manage in life and stuff. And that's mental health. We're back to the mental health thing again. Something I continuously go on about, because predominantly my audience is men, and a huge amount of those men feel a lot of pressure now because the world is changing and everything feels like it's against men at the moment, and everything feels like gender equality and balance, and men feel under a lot of pressure to be a man, because in my time I was raised to be a tough man, get out there and get your hands dirty, and if you fall off a wall it's fine, and girls were lovely little things in dresses going around the place, and they didn't get dirty or damage or jump or do anything like that. That's the way I was raised. Now, I never had that opinion of women my whole life. I've always treated women equally as best as I possibly can. But at the same time, a lot of men here feel that kind of pressure. So if you can let things, I always picture things as a wave. Someone's giving out to you, someone's giving you crap on the road, you're feeling pressure under stress. It is a moment in time that you just pass through. It's just a wave that washes over you. You get to the far side and you meet the next wave. And that's all that really happens. And eventually you get to the other end, and hopefully we'll all live to be 100 years old and be sprightly and happily run around the place. Get some exercise. If you want to get your mental health sorted out, get some exercise. I promise you it'll pay you back tenfold. Any exercise. Philip Gunn is a new name I haven't seen before, and has a proper face on his profile picture instead of just a letter. Electric Kona, 64 kilowatt, nearly 500 kilometers range. Hopefully look forward to your test in the new year. You will. I will be driving that in January. I will be putting that range to the test. I don't necessarily like to test the range thing, because I don't do that in a diesel car. I don't get a diesel car and go, okay, 1,200 kilometers. I'm going to drive this till I run out of diesel here, and then I'm going to see how awkward it is. That's crap. I'm just going to drive it like I drive every other test car, and see how I get on. If I can go for 4 days and not charge that car, I'd be pretty happy with it. That's where that's 4 days would do me fine, for standard condition driving. And I think that's achievable. I actually think that might be achievable. We will see in January when the Kona comes out. Don't buy any cars to see the review of the thing, right? Mark, hiya Bob. I was wondering if you were going to some sort of award video or announce some of your favourite cars 2018. I am, Mark. It is currently in editing. I'm going to do a sort of a top 10 roundup of cars that I've driven this year, or cars that I've driven that are not coming out till next year or whatever, so the cars for kind of 2019. So I'm trying to narrow the list down, is my thing at the moment, to get it down to like 10 or 8 cars ish that I think are the ones to really pay attention to. And it'll all be drawn from videos that I've already done, so it's all going to be my own footage, and then we might tag on at the end of that a roundup of cars that I haven't driven that I'm looking forward to in 2019, or the way that the system is changing or whatever. By the way, on the video I put up recently there, where it's gone on my mind now, the Taraco video at that York, at the very, very, very end of that, I mean the very end, like 14 minutes in or something, I asked you to identify a picture of a car And I wanted to see how many people actually watched that far into the video, because YouTube tell you the watch time and the average watch time. They don't actually tell you how many real people watched at the end. The amount of people who recognize what car that was outstanding. There's a good 100 comments there where people said the name of the car. So it is actually a Volkswagen Polo. It was the one that was on test. I should decide it. So on my next video, I'm going to put another challenge at the end of it as well, but I'm going to make this one a bit harder. I'm not going to make it as easy as that one. That was too easy. I didn't think any would get it. I didn't think I'm going to watch that far into the video, but they do. So yeah, there's so many videos planned. Some videos are already ready. I've finished nearly the Audi A6 video that will be out early next week. I mean, like Monday, Tuesday, maybe tomorrow or Tuesday next week. That will be out, and that's a really good video, really in-depth review of the car, another 12, 13, 14 minutes long. Other videos that are coming up, there will be a special one on the Skoda Superb. There will be a special one on... God, how many videos have I still got? Loads of them, too many. There'll be the roundup video as well, which is coming out over the Christmas break. After the next Sunday service, that will be out. So that will have all of the cars that I think will be the ones that look out for in 2019, and the ones that were the best ones from 2018. There's also a roundup video of the Irish Car of the Year Awards night. I finally have the footage of me awarding the bloody awards at the top of it, so I have that as well. So loads of stuff to come out, loads of videos to come out. And then we start off January with the Volvo V60, and then we're into Nissan Leaf, Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, Hyundai Kona, Jaguar I-Pace. There's a new T-Roc diesel. There's, my God, what is there? I'm booked out till March with cars. That'll tell you how things are going at the moment. I earn a lot, but to take it from me in tax, so we're even. There you go. See, that's a good comment from Shane right there. He earns loads of money, but tax is paid in a very high rate. Not high enough, Shane. You should be paying more tax. How dare you earn a lot of money just because you work hard? How dare you earn it? You should be paying tons of tax. Sorry, that's a parody thing. That's what I hear people all the time on the internet. How dare that millionaire earn millions from me? That happens a lot too. Happy Christmas from Glasgow. Good man, Paul Mack. Paul Mack, cut off his last name. That's a Scottish name, Mack. Brian Cullen. Bob, has written clearly in the instructions that come with your NCT appointment that hubcaps have to be removed, so as the wheels are clearly visible. It's pain, but 100% owner's fault. There you are now. So now, take off your hubcaps, right? I'm just saying, be a nice human though. You could take them off. If you know how to do it, you can take them off. Don't forget you can support this channel. Super Chat, PayPal, Patreon, all those ways down below, which would be really, really brilliant, because nobody supports the channel. I mean, there's no car companies giving us money here to do this. It doesn't happen. So anybody who can give support to the channel is always good. Sean McCabe, what's your opinion on the new suggested speeding penalties? I personally find them ridiculous. There is two schools of thought in that one, Sean. The one thing is, in Germany, I'm starting to remember which one it was now, but in Germany, the further over the speed limit you are, the higher the penalty is, and that is actually the way it works in Germany. So if you're in a 100 km/h zone, you're doing 120, you get. If you're doing 102, you get an 80 quid fine. If you're doing 110, you get a 100 quid fine. Or I don't know what the fines are, but I know that it scales up, and that's in Germany. So there is precedence for it across Europe. In Ireland, I don't think we need it though. I really don't. I think when you're going fast, there is already a dangerous driving thing that the guards can do on you when you're driving way over the limit. When you're just over the limit, you already get a fine. You already get 3 penalty points. I mean, seriously, 3 penalty points. You get 2 speeding fines in a day. That's 6 penalty points. That's going to affect your insurance, which is already catastrophically high in this country. It's just going to make it worse. So I don't agree that we need to have it here. I think our Minister for Transport's a joke. I really do. Everything he does always seems to backfire. It seems to be stupid and ill thought out and not aware of the situation, the current situation. He's proven himself to be pretty much a fallacy at this stage and a bit of a joke. So the Minister for Transport here in Ireland isn't really any good to me, and probably isn't really any good to you. We had a mouse in the house the other day, and I saw the thing moving across the floor, and I put on some traps, and then the local cat, it belonged to the neighbours, not my cat at all, came in and killed it. Followed the mouse in and killed it and took it outside. So that cat is gold now. That cat's a brilliant cat. I love that cat. But she killed it. It was so quick as well. She waited for 20 minutes there on the floor to get the thing, and did a good job. But yeah, speeding penalties, get rid of them. It's just ridiculous. There's already enough speeding penalties. There's already enough ways that the government is collecting money from us when it comes to speeding and when it comes to doing everything on the road, and not all of it now is for safety. And I do think that particularly the one where you don't have your license with you and you get 2 penalty points is stupid, to say the least. That's absolutely... This is how the government keep ID on you at all times. It won't be long now for the guards are allowed to ask you for ID. And that'd be amazing when they stop you in the street and go, who are you? None of your business. Then they'll be able to go, show me your ID. Oh, okay. You have to show them your ID and who you are. Where are you going? What are you doing? Where have you been? All that stuff. I love guards. Most of the ordinary guards out there that are working the street are absolutely brilliant, but I don't need them to ask me where I am, where I'm going, what I'm doing, or what my name is. Unless I'm breaking the law. Simple as that. No. Younger to be chased down by them. Where am I now? To Woodhouse. Younger would have been chased them down and been he or even a bigger maniac, but then now there's a point in getting upset. Yeah, that's Woodhouse getting upset about being cut off or whether you chase them down. Look, it's not worth it. And I know that sounds like a really stupid thing to say, but it's just not worth getting upset about. Nothing happened. Generally, I find that same thing. It's like last week I was talking about speeding as well. We were talking about flashing lights at oncoming cars to warn that there's a speed camera over the hill, and I still believe you should. And people get upset about that. They get so upset. You're so wrong. You're giving that sort of advice. You have such a big audience. You be very careful what you say. I don't really. I believe that. I still think that's true. I still think you should just warn everybody. Be nice humans. The worst thing that could happen to you is, you get a penalty point or penalty points or a speeding fine in the post 3 or 4 weeks after you've been caught, where you could have accumulated other penalty points along the way. And it's just not fair. It's not fair how it's enforced. Prevention of speeding is far better. Prevention of the crime is what police are involved in. That's what they're for. That's actually what they're for. The Garda in Ireland, the police in the UK are there to prevent crime. They're not there to catch you doing it. Honestly, they're there to prevent it. A name that starts with 0 and ends in 0 and has a lot of zeros in between them asked, Bob, how much would it be to import an Audi Q7 3 litre at €370 tax? If you're importing it from the UK, that is going to be different. But an Audi Q7 3, so brand new one, or you're importing a used one, that would also play a factor. You can put those details onto the NCT. Is it NCT? What's the motor tax? There's a motor tax section that you go and select a car from the list. It's the customs part. That tells you how much you need to pay them to import a car. But I don't know how much it would be to import an Audi Q7 3 litre at €370 tax. Couldn't tell you. Brian Cullen. If you usually carry your license, which is the rule, then there's no rule about carrying your license. You don't have to carry your license right now, Brian. There's none. That's the rules just changing that forces you now to bring your license. But anyway, then you'd be very unlucky to be asked for it on the day you don't have it, right? And if so, tough, you get the point in your license. No biggie. No, that's not true. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. You don't have to, currently, there are no rules or regulations about carrying your license with you at any one time. It's very easy to forget your wallet, forget your purse if you're a woman or whatever it is that you got your license in. You should never leave your driver's license in the car. So sticking it up on, have you got your documentation with your car and you've got all your documents up there? You shouldn't do that, right? Because if the car gets stolen, your license goes with it and everything else goes with it, documentation and all that. So it's not a tough me or you thing. It's about being good humans. It's about doing the morally correct thing to do. And the morally correct thing to do is right now, if you're involved in a collision, if you're involved in breaking a law, and the Gardaí want to ask for your license and you don't have it, you then get a 30-day producer system. So the guards are asking you to come 14 to 30 days. It's somewhere in that region. You have 14 days to produce your license at a local Garda station. They can take the details off it there. This system has worked for generations and there's no reason to change that. The only reason to change that is so they can bring in laws surrounding you having to carry a license with you. So when it's in your pocket at all times and they've got that law over the line, then they bring in a secondary law where the Gardaí can ask you to produce that license at any time, whether you're breaking the law or not. Right now, they can't do anything about you as long as you're not breaking the law. If you pull up to a junction and a guard has their hand in the air and they look at your tax disc and insurance disc on the front and they're all in order, they have no more rights now to do anything else other than a random breath test. That's the next thing. They can't ask you for a license or identification unless they find out there's something wrong that you're doing. So I don't agree that you need to carry your license at all times. You should. I do. It's in my wallet constantly because I'm a motoring journalist, so I need to have my license on me all the time. Anyway, every time I go overseas, every time I go to Mondello racetrack, every time I go to wherever it is, someone will ask me to show their license to prove that I have the license to do it. And I have to submit the breath tests as well. I went to Mondello recently with Continental, and before I could go absolutely next or near the track, I had to do a breath test and I had to give my license. So, and the same applies on a lot of international trips where we turn up and they ask you for the license and they give you a breath test straight away. So I do it all the time, but I don't think that everybody should be submitting themselves to this. I don't think it should be part of it. I think we should be very, very, very careful of what we're being asked to do when it comes to changing a law, rules or regulations. And I don't think catching or penalties is the right way to go. You know, oh God, you're going to have a license. You got 2 penalty points for God's sake. 3 penalty points for speeding, that's 5. So there we go. We're affecting insurance. A couple more penalty points because you got a bald tire or a tire that doesn't quite match up, or you get a flat tire, you do something stupid, another couple of penalty points here and there. All of a sudden you're losing your license. Let's hope it's not you, Brian. John Keats, thinking of a Skoda DSG, some negative vibes? I don't have any negative vibes on a Skoda DSG. What's with the negative vibes, man? Negative vibes, of course, that expression comes straight out of a movie called Kelly's Heroes, which is absolutely brilliant. There's something to watch over Christmas. Please, God, find Kelly's Heroes and slap it on DVD. Maybe not when the kids are around, but it's a really good movie. It's a great movie. Love that thing, Kelly's Heroes. Stop you getting with the negative vibes. No, I don't have any negative vibes on DSG. They're lovely cars, drive very smooth. Longevity wise, I can't speak for 30,000, 40,000 miles. We've seen further up in the comments there, John. Someone complained about Volkswagen and a Skoda over 30,000 miles, giving trouble on the DSG boxes. Manual boxes, if you want really longevity, buy a standard gearbox or a manual gearbox. 6 speeds, 5 speeds, doesn't really matter. It is a mechanical thing and you are doing the mechanical thing. So they tend to last a bit longer. DSG is a double clutch gearbox, so you have a clutch, you have 2 clutches, so one clutch engages to get you the next gear, the other gear, and then the gear down below. So it's this constant, it's very smooth, but they're finicky, so they can be troublesome. They were recalled at one point when it used to be a dry gearbox. They were recalled and they transferred them all over to be wet gearboxes very quickly because the dry gearbox wasn't working. Or maybe that's the reverse of that. P.S. When was the last time you were stopped and asked for your license? Is very rare. It's only very rare now, Brian. If they change the rules, I'm telling you this for your own safety. I have no dog in this fight. If they change the rules, it will become common. Think about how rare it was to be breathalyzed in this country, and yet we seem to be doing 100,000 breath tests per year. Then they changed the rules. Now I've been breathalyzed 3 times in the last year, when I hadn't been breathalyzed in the entire decade before that. I'd never been breathalyzed, and then all of a sudden I'm breathalyzed 3 times in a year. So they change the rules and then it has to be enforced. If they change the rules on carrying your license, they will enforce it. So you will go from now very rarely being asked for your license, if ever, I don't think I've ever had to produce my license for a guard, to it'll be happening twice a week or twice a month or twice a year, whatever it'll be. But always think, things are not ever going to stay the same. Things never stay the same. Things are continuously changing. And if we change the rules, it will continuously change from there on out as well. Pardon me. Hello, Jim, the bus driver, if he's listening in work. Oh yeah, I forgot about Jim. Where's Jim? Jim's usually listening to us. He streams the audio into the bus on a Sunday and listens to the Sunday service. So welcome to Jim, the bus driver, and all the passengers. It's always good to have you here. You see, it's not always the amount of people who actually watch the video. It's sometimes there's a great group of people who watch beyond that as well. And I know there's another family that stream me here quite regularly as well in their living room, and they send me emails during the time. They don't comment because they don't log in. Don't forget, you can support this channel on PayPal, Patreon, or right here on Super Chat if you feel that we deserve it. It's becoming quite a little team now, of course, with Andy McAfee as well. And there's more changes coming. The nextyear.com website is coming back. I'm currently in negotiation with a writer to write some reviews, along with me writing reviews and putting our stuff there. So everything's kind of changing in the next 12 months or so. We'll see. It'll be a fun year ahead, I think. I live just on the border of Down and Louth, and I'm looking at the Audi Q7, 9,500 miles, €370 a year to tax in Ireland, and it would be a 172. There's a website. I can't think what the website is. it's a website for checking your tax, import duty tax things. We're into the last 20 minutes already. This is the fastest 2 hours that ever happened in a week. Honest to God, it goes so fast. Paul Collins says, Brian Cullen, as I said, it was my daughter's car, so saw no info. Only saw the time to bring it. My fault not to seek it out info, but I never. This is about taking out the hubcaps on the NCT. It's an awful situation. You got someone. You give the keys over. I've done the NCT every year of my own car, but you give the keys over to a chap or a lady, and they go around and they pick your car up and they go by and they drive in. At any point of that, you could be a lovely human and go, I know you give me your keys here, but your hubcap's still on. You just whip them off now, not a big deal. That's all it takes. It's just 10 seconds of human interaction to do that. Instead, you drive all the way through the NCT, then you come back out and you go, you failed, you left your hubcaps on. You should have checked the thing. Just go and check. It just annoys me. It annoys me. It's one of those points where it's just my job's worth. Oh, that's not my job. Tell him. Oh, no, sure. Why would I do that? Why? Sure. He can come back and do it again. No big deal. It's not true. I think we should all be just nice humans. Oh my God! Facebook group has just grown to 484 members, with Paul Orr, Paul L, and Darren McD joining the Facebook group. Thank you very much for joining us. You can join the Facebook group with Andy McAfee's link there. Click on it, go over and click a join, and Andy will do the necessary. It's just to make sure you're not a lunatic. Anybody can join. We're not restricting any information, so don't be upset if I don't ask you to join. I don't use Facebook really. I only go to the Sunday service and I converse on Messenger with my brothers. That's as far as I use Facebook. I hate it after that. I don't do happy birthdays. None of that stuff. I don't really interact in that space, but I do go on and do the Sunday service all the time. Sunday service community, I check to make sure everything's okay in there and everyone's alright, there's nobody needs help and nothing's going on, and I check to see when I'm tagged, and that's as far as it goes on Facebook. So don't be upset if I haven't asked you, if I'm friends with you on Facebook, I haven't asked you to be a member of the Sunday service. I don't think I've asked anyone really to be a member of the Sunday service, apart from just actually asking you here. Put it out on Instagram, put it out on YouTube here and on Facebook itself, and that's pretty much it. So anybody can join, no restrictions. The only thing is, it's not a sales channel, so if you're a salesperson of car companies, don't come and start selling cars. That's not going to happen. I'll just delete the things. And don't sell anything. We don't sell anything. We just talk about cars and support things. Put in a link to anything you want, whatever it is, as long as it relates to cars and it's not about other stuff, other things outside of that, and you're not slagging anybody or you're not pulling the arse out of someone else's lovely day. After that, you can do what you want. Well, Paul, a cock up between you and your daughter and the 28 quid, nobody died, lesson learned, them's the rules. True. For a car matching those values, you would be looking at approximately €21,000 VRT payable on importing the car. There you go. Shane knows everything. You see, Shane is the man. That may increase depending on the optional extras fitted. So 21k on top of it. God almighty, that's just a tax going to go. Just a tax going to go. And we wonder why cars are so expensive here. Anyway. Calnuts. Hi Bob, I remember you said that you will do another video with the high mileage Skoda Octavia. Is this still coming? Thank you. I haven't filmed it, but there was plans to do a Skoda Octavia high mileage video. But the marketing person I was talking to in Skoda, Mark, has gone to Canada for 12 months, and it was with him we had the plans. So there was a couple of plans I had going there with Skoda on doing some really cool videos, but Mark has gone to seek his fortune in Canada and he seems to be having a good time as well. He's doing well over there. It's a year breakout or something. Maybe he'll be back at some stage. And so there's Cahill has taken over as the marketing dude there, and so he's just got his own little thing going on as well. So between the two of us, we work it out. I have plans to do a whole heap of second-hand stuff next year if I find enough time to do them all. The problem is, it's just me making the videos. I shoot the videos, I edit the videos, I make and upload the videos. There's no one else involved in that end of stuff, so it's just a matter of squeezing all of that into a week is the problem, along with doing a new car reviews and that sort of stuff. So it's very hard to get it going. Hi Bob, what do you think of set up a Telegram group? I don't know what Telegram is, but if you want to set up, Terence, I'll join it for the crack. What's that? Oh no, wait, I don't know what Telegram is. Isn't that what the lads used to do? Secret things. Talk. It's like WhatsApp, only it's Telegram. Isn't that what it is? Something like that. I don't know. But now Facebook is enough at the moment. If you want to set up a group or do something around the group, just include me in it. That's all that matters. JPC says, hi Bob, I hope you are well. I am. It's been too long since I watched Sunday service. It has. Where have you been? What's your excuse? Where's your note from your parents? What's going on? Excellent content as usual. Is the best to rent a car if possible before buying to get a feel for it? Cheers. That is a great solution. An expensive solution, but a great solution if you want to have a go in a car. Now remember that rental cars tend to be either the top end of the market or the bottom end of the market. So you either get a Volkswagen Polo that would do well in communist Russia, or a Volkswagen Polo that you couldn't possibly ever afford, is the two ends of rental cars. So sometimes it can be a mixed bag. You can be specifically looking for a car and you can't get a hold of it. Now some dealers, we've had a couple of dealers in the Sunday service community who have been very good and lent some of their cars to our users for a weekend. And so that can happen as well. Sometimes you can get that done. Now, not often. You'd be very careful. You have to negotiate with the dealer very carefully. But some people will allow you to do that. So you could do it that way around. But if you can find a rental place that's able to rent you the actual car you're looking at, there'd be no harm in doing that. It's a great way out. Then you know you're buying the right car. You'll know after a couple of days. I often find dealerships will offer extended test drives to genuinely interested parties. A few emails back and forth goes a long way to establishing a dialogue there, JPC. You're absolutely right there, Shane. See, this is what happens. And this has happened on the Sunday Service community on Facebook as well, where guys have gotten a go on a car for a weekend and a dealer who's in the Sunday Service community is trying to connect everybody together. That's all. Just show you're all humans. But at the same time, nobody wants tire kickers. Nobody wants someone to turn up a dealership and take lens of multiple cars and buy nothing in the end. Generally speaking, if you're actually in the market for a car and you really want, you're down to the wire, last couple of cars, whatever it is, they'll usually give you a good old test drive in the car then. Bob, Xmas with the little brother this year. His girlfriend and her mum are Irish. Is there anything that specifically traditional food, etc., that Irish people do at Xmas would be a great help? Generally speaking, not. We don't traditionally do anything. It's very similar to England in that respect. It's turkey and ham dinners. We're doing a nut roast this year just because we're vegetarian, vegans. My daughter's vegetarian, I'm vegetarian. But I will do turkey and ham this year because it's just traditional and I love it. But it's probably the only meat I have all year. But the fry up for the breakfast would be particularly good. You would have to get Irish sausages though. Now I find English sausages are not the same. They're just not. I'm sorry, England. But there's even Irish sausages at the lowest end of the Irish sausage market, and I'm talking about like Denny's 40% pork sausages are better than some of the really bespoke yolks you get in the UK. Some of the sausages you have are lovely, but they're just not the same as Irish sausages. Aldi has a good, believe it or not, Aldi has a good handle on Irish sausages, and 80% pork ones are absolutely lovely. Rashers need to be rashers, not bacon, not the little tin strips of horrible things that Americans do. And black and white pudding. And then you might have potato farls, tend to be a more northern thing, like Northern Ireland tend to have the potato farls and an Irish breakfast. Baked beans they can be an Irish breakfast, they're okay. Onions and mushrooms and things, they are also an Irish breakfast, but it's a weird thing. It's quite a wild yolk. Soda bread would be another part. Bread would be very important here. So there's a number of things that are traditional for breakfast, but after that we don't. Now my own Christmas breakfast here is poached eggs with smoked salmon and a bit of hollandaise sauce. You would probably, some of you would call that, what do you call that? There's a name for that thing. Did you call it? Anyway, whatever it's called. That's our traditional breakfast. That's just us though. We're weird like that. Smoked salmon and things. We don't like that usual sort of breakfast. A big fry up wouldn't be my sort of thing now. Hi Shane, thanks for your help. It wouldn't be a new car, and used Mazda 6 from 2013 onwards. Good stuff. Now we don't. You see, you're not going to rent a Mazda 6 from 2013. You really won't. And the new Mazda 6 that'll be on starting into the rental fleet that was a totally different car. If you're buying a Mazda 6, if you can, you buy a gasoline manual. They're a lovely car. The diesel auto is alright, but the 2.2 litre is quite thirsty. There, see, that was quick, wasn't it? Summed up in a flash. Germany speeding do 10 kilometers an hour limit on restricted part of the autobahn. You get 80 to 100 euro ish fine. Do the same at night in the rain. To a roadwork session to be summoned to court banned. See, That's how the Germans do it, and that's kind of what our lovely Minister for Transport, who hasn't a clue where his two ears are, is trying to do as well. I've only had used cars and a quick 5-minute test drive from a garage up the road, and really isn't enough. You're right, it isn't. You should make a deal when you're going out to, if you're down to the wire on a test car, your minimum test drive from there on out is an hour, right? If a dealership can't do without a car for an hour, then, you know, you're in the wrong dealership. Take your money and go elsewhere. That's how it works, right? Now, that's not to say that every driver that walks in through the door goes, I want to take that car for a test drive. I feel like I'm in top gear. And, you know, I watched enough Jeremy Clarkson to know what I'm talking about. That's the way YouTubers are at the moment when they're doing a review of a car. It's funny. This car is crap. It's so funny. I have driven none of its competitors, but I think it's crap. That's the way YouTubers are at the moment. But yes, if you can get at least an hour in a car for a test drive, you should be able to do that. It's easy. Circumstances are a good measure for the German system. A bigger threat to self and others is not only the speed. That's true. But then, like the Germans are very obedient. I have to say, sorry if you're German and you find that offensive. It's true though. You're very obedient. When a rule comes out, the Germans actually quite like obeying that rule, and we're in Ireland not so obedient as that. We tend to like to find a little kind of grey area around the rule and take advantage of that. So yeah, that happens. But you know, you can't always just look at a European country and go, we should do what that European country does. But they're obviously the better ones. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes it's country specific. Is your neighbour's cat available for service, free food provided? I'm sure it is. If you can attract it around, it's brilliant. She just turned up at the back door a minute ago. I'm sure we could lend her out for food for her. Absolutely phenomenal hunter cat. Never let me down. I always used to drop a little mouse at the back door for a long time. And then she just caught one in here as well, which is great because I didn't fancy having to put up with a mouse around the place. Possibly why, as driving a culture in Germany is one of the best in the developed world. Yeah, Germans tend to be one of the better drivers on the road, particularly because they have great experience of driving. They have to do so many different tests and so many different rules and regulations. They have to do an Autobahn specific test as well, and so they've driven on motorways. They've passed those tests. And we have the high-speed section, which is getting less and less and less, by the way. If you ever want to go to Germany to drive in the Autobahn at unlimited speed, you need to do it in the next 3 to 5 years. I reckon the Autobahn, as the unlimited speed zone in Europe, will soon be gone. I just do, because every time there's a collision on it, it's now hideous. Bob, at this time of the year, mice try to find warmer places. You can buy a humane trap that catches the creature and just release it outside. Live and let live is always the best bet. Be a nice human. Be a nice human to other humans. Mice, dead. Kill it. Rats, same. Kill the thing. Kill it. Burn your house down. That's how you do mice. I can't deal with it. I'm not afraid of mice anyway. I just can't even consider bringing the thing out the back and put it down in the backyard, and then eventually it just come back in. I'll just be thinking about it forever. It's better off dead, because it found a way in. It's going to find a way in again. Sneaky little. Have you ever watched Mouse Hunt or whatever the movie's called? God, these things are so smart. Like, yes, that's how I deal with both mice, rats, and spiders. Is either I'll flamethrower the entire house just to kill whatever it is that's near me, or I'll kill it, or I'll kill myself killing it. But yes, the cat looked after the last one, which is really nice. Reverend flashing lights for speed traps. The police in Northern Ireland on Facebook regularly post in contrast to each other. One saying they see it as fine as it achieves some same goal. Others openly miffed at it. Yeah, well, the goal here is to save lives and slow people down. If you can flash your lights and they slow down, you've saved lives. So what's the problem? Like, there's no issue there. It's not like you're driving on with your headlights on full blast, blinding the entire country coming at you. And usually this is during the day. So if the goal is to save lives and prevent speeding, you are preventing speeding. If the goal is to catch speeding, then tell me I can't slow people down. Why can't I stand on the side of the road, a big sign saying speed trap ahead? Is that illegal as well? Because I don't think it is. Ooh, see, Gray, how controversial as always with the Flavin here. It's like, oh God, I'll get myself in trouble one of these days. But anyway, the only person in Ireland who seems to agree with me on that one is Brian Cullen. So there you are, Brian. Speaking of being a nice human, speeding is not... Here you go again. Speeding is not a nice human. It endangers other humans. Zero tolerance. Be nice, don't speed. It's morally correct. Yes, it is. I got 3 penalty points for going 76 kilometers an hour in a 70 kilometer an hour zone. Is that speeding? Really? I got my first time when penalty points came in 3 weeks after penalty points started. I got 2 penalty points for going 53 kilometers an hour in a 50 kilometer an hour zone. They wouldn't relinquish. They would no interest in talking about it. They would not even consider it. I said, just take us to court. Just go to court and sort it out there. I didn't. I put up with the penalty points. I just have 0 penalty points now. I have nothing pending. I have no dog in that fight whatsoever to get penalty points removed. I'm not looking for the punishments to change or rules or regulations to change. I'm telling you that if you tell people to slow down in the distance, to slow down, and they drop below the 100, if the area is 100, everybody will go 80. The minute they see those flashlights, headlights at them, they will all go 80. You are gaining ground, you are being a nice human, and you are preventing speeding, which is what it should be, preventing speeding. I just skipped forward again, sorry. The humane trap is the most, but most others too, I think. The humane trap. Oh yeah, the humane trap for the mice. Yeah, no, just kill it. Just kill it. No, humane. Sorry, there's enough mice. I don't need any more in my house. Or humane traps. Look, you think about someone's going to call PETA on me now, aren't they? Protection of pets or whatever it is, one of that crowd. But look, mice are vermin. They completely decimate your house. I know. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, lads. I know we were proliferation of mice back then. It was unbelievable. They destroy houses, wiring, walls, cupboards, doors. They just get in, and then they have babies in the summertime, and then you might as well forget it. You'll never get them out of the house again. You have one chance from the moment you see them to the moment you eradicate them. That's your one chance. So I've had 3 mice in this house total. 1 upstairs, killed it stone dead. About 6 years later, got another one here on the floor 3 or 4 months ago. Ran across the floor, hid under a cupboard, I put traps everywhere, caught him that evening, and then the one the other day. So 3 mice total in the 10 years I've lived here. So I'm doing okay, and I think I'll just continue to kill them if I see them, but only when I see them. I don't put mice traps down most of the time. I only do it when I see one, and I didn't kill the last one. The cat did. I attracted the cat, and the cat sat here until it got the mouse. That's all it was. The carrying license and penalty to not thing. Just about everywhere else in EU, the police can ask your details and confirm it with your driving license, including PIC, on a government database. Just sounds more epically behind the times, and looking to force carrying a formal identity documents is a weird one. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I kind of am. Look, I have no problem carrying my license, no problem being there. What is the law around whether a guard can ask me who I am, what I'm doing, where I'm going, details of things? It's that kind of stuff. Right now we can be a little bit anonymous, so I can turn off my phone and go anywhere in the country, and no one has the law or the rules or regulations. So long as I don't break the law, no one can ask me what I'm doing there. That is my business. I don't want to bring in a law that allows that to change, that allows my kids in the future to be stopped by a guard in the street while they're walking to town, mind their own business, and he has the right to ask them where he's going or what they're doing or what their names are. It's none of their business. It's none of their business. It's just that simple. ROI will be like the USA, license and registration being the first words out of the guards when stopped. You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly where I'm going with this. That's what happens in the US. You stop in the US, license and registration, sorry. You have to give all your details on where you are, where you're going, and just because they want to ask you, rather than you're doing anything. I want to be able to go along my private vehicle and not be asked any questions, unless I break the law. If I break the law, I have no problem with that at all. When we were reviewing the new Megane RS, Renault, I don't think like me very much because they have not given me the car to book in. I haven't phoned them and asked them for it, but I know it's there, an orange one, and I have not got any emails nor any press releases from Renault Ireland about the car. So maybe I upset them in the past and they don't want to give me the car now, or it's crap and they want to let me drive it because they know I'm going to say it's crap, or I just don't think it's good enough, or whatever it is. But whatever, I still haven't got the car, so I don't know is the answer to that. I will email the PR company who deal with Renault Ireland, O'Hay PR, and ask them about the Renault Megane. I would probably force an answer out of them. But look, if they don't want me to drive it, I don't drive it. I don't go around begging for cars. That's not how the life works out there. And the Renault Megane would be a very, very small seller in this country, so I wouldn't be terribly uptight about it. But it would be nice to have a little spinach all the same. JJ McGarvey, hi Bob, might be a bit late with my question. If you get to me, I am getting to you. I'm getting there, even though we're running late now, 16:02. But if you get to me, what are your thoughts on remapping? I have a 2014 diesel Octavia VRS 184 brake horsepower. Best thing to do is check online forums. Generally, someone has remapped most cars at some point or another. There is a safe tolerance level. Ford are the only company on earth that allow you and tell you how to remap their RS range, and they tell you the specific points to run through. Skoda would not be one of those, nor would Volkswagen Group in general, but they do test between tolerances. So sometimes you'll actually find some diesel engines come out in Europe at 180 brake horsepower, and they come out in Australia at 200 brake horsepower. It's just the way the market forces work, or the way the tax works, or whatever it is. So often those are already pre-mapped. Now, mapping an engine in itself is not dangerous. When it's done properly by someone with experience, it's not a problem. But it can shorten the life of the car, because it does push out the horsepower, which changes the mapping timing on the engine of the car, which means the pistons have to go a little higher to create more pressure, so you get the interference level. You can bend valves, you can end up putting a car under such pressure and stress it starts to burn oil, the temperatures get all over the place. So you have to get someone who has experience in doing it. But in its own respect, remapping a car is a very easy thing to do, and car companies do it all the time, which is why some cars come out with 160 brake horsepower, 180 brake horsepower, same engine, just the horsepower has been turned down for CO2 emissions. There you are. So it's easy done. Patrick Flaherty, how you doing, Bob? I'm okay. Irish people in general do not care about rules or regulations. See it every day when driving. That is true. Eggs Benedict, that's the name of the bloody thing. Eggs Benedict, yes, of course, with the poached eggs and the hollandaise sauce and all that. Strictly speaking, I think it's something else. You don't put salmon on for Eggs Benedict. You put ham on for Eggs Benedict, I think. But I call it Eggs Benedict as well. Your Xmas breakfast name, Posh Nosh. Posh Nosh is right. Posh Nosh. Good morning, says Huggles Cake. Of course, Huggles Cake is in the US. That's why he's saying good morning to me. Well, it's good evening here. We're running out of time. UK system of speeding tends to be fairly uniform. The prosecution threshold is plus 10%. Is 10% plus 2 miles per hour. So at 35 miles per hour in a 30 mile an hour zone and 79 miles per hour on a motorway before you attract any enforcement. That gives a lot of leeway. We have kind of the same thing here. So 30 kilometers an hour, if you're doing 35, you probably won't get, it's 5 kilometers an hour, you probably won't get any problems. And the same the other end, 120, 125 is not really going to make a whole lot of difference to you. I think it's down to how you were speeding or why you were speeding. There's all kinds of mitigating circumstances. I think the more automated we make that whole system, the more dangerous it is. You know, the more kind of, this is the rule and there's no going around that rule no matter what happens. I think that takes the humanity out of it, and I know that probably means better enforcement, but it also means we're going to have a worse time of it when we want to just pull the plug on something. Anyway, there is still at the moment 60 of you watching, which is absolutely crazy amount of people to be watching the full 2 hours of this broadcast. Actually over 2 hours, because now it's 4:05, so we've already gone 5 minutes over time. It's been absolutely fantastic Sunday. Don't forget our Sunday service Facebook community. You can join there and you'll get the latest updates and all the events and all the live meets and all the stuff that we create along the way. If you can, please, it'd be brilliant if you could support the channel in some way, whether it be Super Chat, PayPal or Patreon or whatever it is. It doesn't, whatever way you want to do it, it'd be absolutely brilliant if you can. If you can't, doesn't matter, just hit the subscribe button is all we're really after. More subscribers and more people around the edge as well. It'd be great to have you here. The conversation continues over on our Facebook page, and hopefully you will have a great Christmas. Don't forget, next Sunday we have another Sunday service, which is very important for you to be here, because it'd probably be the last one of the year, unless there be another Sunday I can squeeze it in before the new year, but we'll see. We don't know. I'll run it. It's flaky, I know, it's terrible. We don't plan these things very miles in advance, but there is just me on the channel so I don't know what's happening from week to week. But hopefully you will join us again next week for the Sunday service special, on the Christmas special, and enjoy every moment of it. Until the next time.